Yo, 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 can you hear me? Can you hear me? Oh my God, my voice is a little shaky. Hold on. Can you hear me out there? Can you hear me? Mic check 1, 2. How are you doing? Happy Tuesday. Did you miss Auntie? Did you miss me? Because I missed you. Hold on 1 second. Come on in. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. Come on in. Give me 1 second. All right. All right. Auntie back. Auntie back. Sorry about that. Wait a minute. Hold on. No, it's so hot in here. I have to grab my pen. Excuse me. Okay. Sorry about that, y'all. I have to get it together. I didn't realize there wasn't on in the house, and I'm just like, why am I so hot? Besides being a baddie, it's really hot. It's 90 degrees on a Tuesday here in Chicago. You need the air on. So I had to go grab my fan. But look, welcome in, welcome back to the channel. I'm sorry that I missed you guys yesterday. It was a lot going on. I had my best friend in town. She brought her husband, their newborn baby. Well, she's about 7 months old now, who is my honorary niece. And so they've been staying in my house for the last week and a half, and they were kind of in the area where I do this content. And it was just a lot. It was just a lot going on yesterday. Plus, I watched the Nolan Wells funeral. It was just a lot. It was just a lot to take in, and I just wasn't fully ready mentally to speak on the situation. So I needed a day. So thank y'all for understanding. And thank y'all for being here now. So make sure y'all get the likes up, please. Make sure you get the likes up, please. Thank you for pulling up on this fine Tuesday. We're just going to do a recap of the funeral. There have been some new developments happening since then. And we're going to break it all down today. I'm going to share my thoughts and my opinions on what I think is going on. But I will say this, y'all. I'm not sure how much I'm going to continue to speak on this situation until we get some arrest. Because at this point, it's too much weird shit going on. It's too many holes in the story. And it's the fact that they had his body at that funeral in a casket before we have details on this autopsy. A lot of weird things are happening. I don't know what's going on. And until we have an arrest, or at least a person of interest, until we actually hear from the boys that were actually on that boat with him, all the conspiracies and these new developments and people speaking, I don't want to hear no more. Because at this point, I think a lot of it is bullshit. But let me know if y'all can hear me loud and clear. Let me know. What's going on, DeGenius? Thank you for being here. My life. Always here on time. Thank you for pulling up, my good friend. What's going on, Truth and Purpose? What up, Jazz? Young Whitney Houston twin. Not even. But thank you so much. Yes, please hype the video after the show, please. Yes, I did. Because that I am. I look good, I feel good. That's what a baddie is to me. You hating? Don't be hating. So y'all, I hope y'all had a good weekend. Checking in. We're going to get right into it, okay? So we're going to do a quick recap of the funeral. Let's just kind of go through what was said at this funeral. Right? And then we're going to cover the press conference that happened, I think, almost immediately after the funeral. And then we'll get into some new developments because there's been a new video that has been brought out kind of allegedly showing Nolan on a boat right before he went missing, allegedly. In the video that I saw, it really didn't give us much. You know what I mean? It really didn't give us much to go off of. But right now they're saying he's on this mysterious boat. We'll look at that and just kind of look at all the other things that are coming out so far. So make sure you like the video, subscribe, comment, share, and hype the video once it's done. Let me go ahead and pull up this first video for y'all. And we're going to take it from there. Thank y'all so much for being here and pulling up. Give me 1 second. I just really think it's some suspicious stuff going on, y'all. And I think it's more than what meets the eye. I think it's way more than what meets the eye. There are a lot of things that we're not being, there are a lot of things that they're leaving out in this entire situation. So, here we go. All right, we're going to watch it from ABC News, okay? So we're going to break it down from beginning to end, but I'll jump a little bit, to make sure we stay concise. So let me go ahead and share the video. Shout out to ABC News. I'm going to fast forward it a little bit. Gets up and gives his prayer. But if you didn't catch the actual memorial, it started off with, some singing, some somber music, people coming into their seats, but you only see the cameras on the stage and on the speakers and on the pastors the entire time. You don't really see it pan out in the audience. You do see some clips towards the end when they're leaving. So I thought that was interesting as well. But let's just get into it. And you guys just let me know what you think in the comments. How energetically, what type of energy do you feel that this whole situation is giving off right now? Because remember, y'all, we are, damn near 15 days now? Last time I checked, 15, 16 days from when this tragedy happened. We still have no answers. He's in a casket. He's being buried. He had a funeral, but we're still waiting on autopsy, which I didn't even know you can do. And according to the law, you technically can't bury a body if the body is still under investigation and you're still waiting on autopsy reports. Maybe there's a loophole there. Well, I looked it up because I was like, how is he there? But we're still waiting to see, we're waiting for reports to see what actually happened to his body. Because if he's in that casket, that means he's been embalmed. And if he's been at the funeral home and has been embalmed, that would mean you would know what happened to his body, right? That part right there is weird to me right off the gate. Because I really didn't think there was going to actually be a body at this funeral. I thought it was just going to be like a memorial. I thought it was just going to be, them celebrating his life. But they actually had his casket there with his body in there. And I'm not saying that, like I said in the last stream, I'm not here to criticize anybody on how they're grieving, but we're not having any funerals. We're not having any services. We're not celebrating shit until I know what the hell happened to my son. And this woman is still up here, still looking for answers. It's all becoming very bizarre to me. So like I said, we're going to review this, but I'm going to holler at y'all again after this. I'm going to still keep, be mindful and be aware of what's going on and following the case. But until we get some arrests, pack it up. Pack it up. I need some arrests. I need some whereabouts. I need evidence. So I need those phones confiscated because they're playing at this point. So let's get into the recap of the video. Thank y'all so much for being here. Make sure you like the video. I'm going to turn the music down just a little bit more. And you guys, if you want me to change the music up, send me a super chat. Give me the cash. You know what I'm saying? Help on T.I. I'm going to cut it off. I'm going to cut it down. Dang. Let me me cut it down just a little bit more. Oh, wait. Here we go. All right. I turned it down. All right, so let's go ahead and start with Reverend Al Sharpton, starting off the funeral, talking to the funeral attendees and giving prayer. Let's get into it. Like the video.
We come to celebrate the life of this young man, Nolan Xavier Wells. We come with a painful acknowledgement of you allowed him to return home at a young age. We can't question what you do, but we can ask for the strength and power to be given us to go through this and understand the meaning of this and to seek what is required of this at this hour. Look on his family, his mother, his father, his siblings, and all of his blood relatives that long after the cameras are gone, long after the crowds stop coming by, they will bear the burden of an empty chair in the house. They will bear the burden of memories that will not ever leave them. And give them the strength to find some meaning and give them the memory of the joys that he brought them and wipe away their tears from their eyes so that they can see and be what he would want them to be at this hour. We don't have words or anything we could give, but you have the strength and the power to hold them up. And we ask for that strength today. And look down here in Mississippi today and let us pursue justice. Whatever the situations are that led to this, let every stone be rolled back and every veil be torn asunder. And let truth pop out of the ground like a flower and let justice flow down like a water and mercy like a mighty stream. These blessings we ask in your name. Amen. Let me first give honor to the pastor who has been so wonderful in allowing us to be here today. Senior Pastor Pagel and Executive Pastor Brownsville. Reverend R.D. Holmes, who heads National Action Network in Tallahassee.
Fast forward just a little bit more.
From Tallahassee, Florida.
He's giving his thanks and then he announces the parents to come up and speak.
And the will to go forward to make his name stand for what it should stand for. And I want us to hear their words. Many of us have different emotions, but no one's emotions should override the emotions of the mother and father. We are here to stand with them. This is their child. And you can't be more angry or hurt or burdened than them. So don't outrun them. Let us stand and uphold them at this hour of grief. Let me ask them to come and give a few words. The mother.
Now, this would have been tough for me. Again, this mother is showing incredible strength. I don't know how she has the strength to even do this, especially trying to celebrate her son's life when she still has so many unanswered questions, being willing to open this funeral service to media, to a whole bunch of other people, you know, all the friends and so on and so forth. That takes a lot of strength. And I'm hoping that she's not being forced to do this, because it just doesn't make sense to me why you would feel comfortable to do a funeral service before hearing back from the autopsy. And maybe they're just telling us they're still waiting for the autopsy report. Maybe they know more than what they're, leading us to believe. But I just find that strange. It's almost insulting. You want me to celebrate his life while you still haven't given me any answers? We know that he was left. He turned up dead. All of his friends on that boat deactivated their social medias, had his belongings, wiped his phone. There's suspects in the game. We know that boat went from here to there to here. We know that call talking about it was sinking with some bullshit because they spent a whole nother hour and some change running around through that island, going from this house to that house. My point is, the strength that she's displaying while still not knowing anything at her son's funeral, I don't even know a word to describe that, but let's continue.
Glory to God for choosing Elmore and me to be Nolan's parents. We thank you, Lord, for the beautiful 18 years that you blessed us with him. Thank you for the joy he brought not only to our family, but also to his friends and everyone in the community whose lives he touched.
Make it bigger for y'all.
Nolan had such a gentle, calming spirit about him. He had a way of making people feel seen, welcome, and valued. He could lift your confidence with just a few words and make you feel.
I'm gonna pause it right here just for a second. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you being here. Hey, Roxy, how are you? Thank you for coming. What's up, Jazz? In the chat, Chi-Town in the building. Yes, indeed. Why was this on ABC News? Because she allowed the media to be a part of it. She said it at the last press conference that they had, that she wanted the media there. Yes, she wanted to keep it prioritized for family and friends, but she made it known that she was allowing all media outlets or whoever media outlets to come in and broadcast this boy's funeral live. You know what I mean? Like I said, y'all, I'm not judging this lady. I'm not judging this family, but that's a lot. Nobody would be at my son's memorial at this time. If we're doing something, closed off. But we got all major news outlets broadcasting live, accessing this memorial service, which I don't know. I have my own thoughts about that. We'll talk about it later.
Feel like you belonged. If you ever had the privilege of meeting our son Nolan or calling him a friend, then you experienced a glimpse of God's love through him. He was both protective and nurturing. He often told us that one day he wanted to have 3 daughters that he would name Sophia, Charlotte, and Olivia. He had a deep love for the Lord and an unwavering faith that was evident in the way he lived his life. As much as our hearts are broken, we find peace in knowing that our son is resting in the arms of the Lord. We will miss everything about him, from his quiet nature to the corny jokes, his gentle smile, the way he made everyone around him feel comfortable, loved, and at ease. Your absence has left an emptiness that can never truly be filled. A piece of our hearts will always be missing. Nolan, your father and I are incredibly proud of you.
Also about this father, because he's about to speak too. I keep hearing that this is his stepfather, but he's about to speak on Nolan as if he's known Nolan. Well, I mean, there are a lot of stepfathers that have been around their kids' life since they were, just crawling, learning how to walk. So it's not, too far-fetched. But do we have any actual proof that this is his stepfather and not his biological father? I need to know.
We've always been proud of you, of the young man you were, and we will always be proud of the legacy of love, kindness, and faith that you have left behind. In a world that can often feel dark, be like Nolan. Be the light that brightens the lives of those around you. Be the warmth for those who may be feeling the coldness of the world. Love deeply, protect fiercely, and welcome others with kindness. and remain faithful, knowing that God is always with you. Lastly, I ask that each of you keep Nolan's memory alive. Hold him close in your hearts. Share his stories and never stop saying his name. As long as we continue to remember him, his light will continue to shine through us all. Nolan, we love you. We'll continue to fight for you. And until we meet again, and thank you all for coming. Thank you.
You guys gotta excuse me.
That's tough. That's tough. She's so sweet. I would be so angry at this funeral. I would be so like, yeah, we're here today burying my son and we still don't have any answers. We're here today and I still don't have an autopsy report. We're here today and his friends that were on that boat that claim to have loved him so much, they're not here because like I said last time, if those friends aren't at that funeral, that should tell us everything we need to know. And of course those boys weren't there. We already know that they weren't going to show up. But if you're innocent and if you're really a friend, you would have. I would have been on that podium enraged. No decorum. No decorum. That's why I'm like this. Woo! It takes a strong one because I'll be knocking shit over at the funeral.
I might be
Only because the media is there, right? Only because the media is there. And I need them to know that, yeah, we're going to keep saying his name and we're going to celebrate his life. But also, please know we are not okay with the way this investigation is going. We are still highly upset. We don't feel like they're doing their due diligence in regards to bringing us answers. I would be saying that out loud on that podium in those cameras, but that's just me. Again, that's why I said it's very bizarre. It's all a little bizarre. But God bless this family. Seriously. I just hope that they are being led in the right direction and doing the things that are really going to bring them justice.
kind of all over the place a little bit. Just a second. First of all, I want to say out of all my kids, Nolan was the one that would crawl backwards on the regular. Like babies crawl forward, he would crawl backwards. And he had this crazy haircut that I just, I don't know. You had to see it to know him. But
And that's why I question. He's talking about crawling. So he's been in this boy's life since before he could walk. He said he had a funny crawl, right?
I want to start off by saying how proud I am of you, my son. You grew up to be a very young man that everyone enjoyed to be around. The constant lectures from me about having character, self-respect, self-discipline, and perseverance really hit home with you at an early age. These were the things that I had to live through.
Let's talk about it. SJ1208 says, I think it's smart to have the media there. You have to keep this case in the front of the people's mind. In today's society, people have a very short attention span. I don't disagree that we need to keep this story in people's faces, but we all also know that the media is not always working in our favor. And in this situation, the media being there with still so many unanswered questions, I don't know if it's doing, and what they're putting out is just celebrate his life. Let's just remember him. Let's just keep talking about his legacy. I feel like it's taking the pressure off of the detectives and the investigation to do what's right and putting more of a celebratory and happy, it's all good type of energy in front of the media so we can forget about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why I'm like, if the media is going to be there, take the opportunity to really show your rage so you're not letting up. So they're not letting up on this case. Because what we're seeing is they don't want anything. They just want justice. it's just, I don't know if it's always in our favor. The media has never highlighted, well, they have like they're very inconsistent with highlighting accurate details on certain situations as it pertains to cases like this with Black boys and Black men. So while the media could be there to keep people's attention, it could also divert the attention as well. It's like, well, if they don't care, we ain't got to care either. And then next thing you know, we're going to start talking about it because they hooping and hollering and celebrating. It's like, well, fuck it. You know what I mean? It's a two-edged sword, I think. But let's continue. Hello, play. Why won't you play?
For me, about having character, self-respect, self-discipline, and perseverance really hit home with you at an early age. These were the things that I had to live through.
Oh, there was a glitch on their end. Okay, hold on.
Everybody breaks in the first few days. But on that first day of trials, you shocked me and your mom. And just to make a long story short, you, Jalen, and Javon won y'all first championship together. Middle school was even more exciting because you were not just making a name for yourself on the football field, the basketball court, and the baseball diamond, but you were also laying the groundwork for your little brother Elmore. I nicknamed you Mr. Cool Hands because it seemed like you was catching a touchdown every game. You wanted to be the best.
They really struggling.
So I
That's what I'm like, this is hard.
That I could by taking you to the gym.
This father really loved his son as a star athlete. He really, when you hear him talk about what I noticed with the father, him and his son really connected through sports, it seems like. You know what I mean? Because he's always talking about how athletic he was, how great he was, the potential that he had. That stuck out to me. When was this? The one Michael Lee. This funeral happened yesterday afternoon at around 11 a.m. So we're just recapping it now. There were a few things that stuck out to me, so we're recapping the whole thing. I just, let's just continue.
To work out, taking you to the beach to do drills in the sand, teaching you how to watch film, how to study your opponent's strengths and weaknesses. And you carried these teachings all the way through high school and had an amazing run. Also during that time, you made a lot of friends. You helped a lot of people and you became well liked by many. It really warmed me and your mother's heart when we would get a phone call or an email from a teacher talking about something that you did for a fellow student. All the teachers love Nolan. The day you came home from college, you came in the room and you asked me about training. You would always ask us, or always tell us about things that you want to do for us. When you signed with a school, you want to do this and take me and your mother there. And I would always tell you that, son, you need to take it one day at a time. During this time, you trained, you worked out. The bond with your younger siblings grew stronger because they looked up to you for motivation, especially your younger brother, which played the same position that you did. You guys' competition, Cannon, Nolan loves you. And he wanted you to do just as good as he did. Ethan, the same way. Even though you weren't a receiver, he wanted you to do great things. Carly, Jaden, with you guys being the oldest.
Also, guys, make sure you like the video. Like the video, please. Definitely want to interact with you guys in the in the chat. But if you have something that you want me to comment on and you want your comment highlighted, just go ahead and send me a super chat. Any amount, it doesn't really matter. But I want to make sure I get those comments highlighted. and prioritize those. Also, guys, if you want to support the channel, hashtag $ more jazz at Cash App. You can send a Cash App, etc. Thank y'all so much. Help Auntie get some new music on the channel. That's the new fun. Help me get a new song on here. Shoot.
He wanted the best for you guys. And I know that he would have did anything he could to make you guys happy. I just want to say thank you all for coming out. Thank you all for coming out and celebrating our son. Nolan meant a lot to a lot of people. And today it just shows us how much he meant to the community, to the country, and to the world. Thank you guys again for coming out. We appreciate it.
Okay, so that was what the mother and the father had to say. I'm about to jump just a little bit more to Reverend Al Sharpton's speech, because he surely said a lot. Then we'll get to Mr. Crumps, and then we'll take it from there. Thank y'all so much. Hit the like button, please. All right.
Called about what happened to Nolan. And as the days went on, the parents came to our Harlem headquarters of National Action Network and told the story as they knew it at that time.
And they still don't know anything.
Then
We're going on 3 weeks.
Crump, who I call the Attorney General of Black America, began looking into this situation. And since then, every day, I have thought about what this means and what it could mean.
I'm gonna speed it up just a little bit.
And a lot of what this could mean, it could be the healing or it could be the poking of the wound. That's going to be decided by what we do. The senior pastor of this church had the courage of his faith to open the doors of this church and let this family funeralize him, even though he knows that some, I'm sure, in the city would wonder why he would even do that. And the dividing of our children of God is something that we have to get over. One of the things that I'm glad to see is that there are people of all races at this funeral.
All right, I'm gonna pause it right there and give a little commentary. Okay. Okay, so you want to say, I want to point out that I'm glad to see all races here right now. I'm glad to see all races here right now. As it pertains to this case, us highlighting that this kumbaya type of thing that he's doing right now, which I'm not saying is a bad thing, again, takes pressure off of the issue. Because make no freaking mistake, this is a racially charged situation, just by where the whole thing is panning out. The fact there aren't any arrests, the fact that it's a delay in the investigation, the fact that just on Friday they were able to talk to the DA 2 weeks after the tragedy happened. But we know if it was the other way around and that was a white boy that ended up dead with black boys, we would not be in the same situation. Those white parents would not be at that funeral talking about we're so happy that all races are here, right? They will be making it about race, condemning the black race, saying how, bad we are, how violent we are. Look at this. This is how black people are. But when you try to be the black person that is the victim, making it seem like we're all okay and trying to deflect from the actual racial injustice that is literally playing out in front of us right now, it lifts the pressure off. No, call a spade a spade. We're happy that everybody is here, but we can't be sitting here trying to make everybody feel comfortable. And I feel like that's what happens a lot of times. We got to go in front of the media as black people and make everybody feel comfortable. Make sure we don't make it about race. Make sure we don't offend anybody. It's white people here too, y'all. So, it ain't about this. No. Fuck all that. But let's continue.
And there are people of all ages. All whites are not a racist, and all blacks are not angry. Somewhere in the middle, we've got to meet. And
all whites are racist. Sorry, they are. They are inherently racist because it's literally passed down. Now, some of them become self-aware and unlearn their racism and actively, fight against it and use their privilege to dismantle systemic racism and oppression, etc. But no, they are like that. G. They even if they don't think they are, they are. You know what I mean? It just is what it is. It's in them. That's literally the lineage of their, the legacy of their culture. That's why they are emboldened to be so outright racist right now, because that's their true nature. You know what I mean? They're mad that they can't be. A lot of racist people are mad because they can't be blatantly outwardly racist right now. That's why you have the people like Chud the Builder and Jake Lang going out in public antagonizing black people for no reason, provoking black people for no reason, because that's what they do. You know what I mean? Like that's what they do. So it's little sound bites like that I'm like, no. This is not the time to say that. We have to call a spade a spade. We got to keep it real.
Find what is just and fair. And that is why we want to celebrate Nolan, and at the same time say we want a full and thorough investigation. We don't want nothing sugar-coated either way. But for an 18-year-old young man to no longer be with us, we want answers. Not biased either way, just answers. And I think that for the family, the closure can come if there is justice. We will see where it goes. Some have prejudged. I do not think that it is appropriate for either side of opinions to prevail without a backup and fair investigation.
But where is the investigation, Al? That's what we're trying to figure out. What are we going off of? What are we going off of? Truly. What are we going off of? What do we know? Everything we're going off of is all speculation at this point. What we do know is that Nolan Wells is dead. What we do know is that there's conflicting stories with the last people who saw him. His friends on the boat say he went with Katie. Katie saying he ain't come with me. Then he turns up dead. Then we have the Coast Guard who found his body saying that body didn't look drowned. But we haven't heard from the actual boys that were with him on that damn boat. What do we know? It sounds good. We want a thorough investigation, but is that what we're getting? We're 2 weeks out now. What's been thorough? It shouldn't take. Does it really take this long? Unless you're really trying to hide and suppress information and duck and dodge. Why is it taking this long? How thorough are we actually being?
We cannot say it was racist, but we cannot say it was not racist. So let's not judge either way until all that.
But what's wrong with just flat out saying it? I think it's right. I think it was racially motivated. I think it was. Because I guarantee you, if it was the other way around, they would be the first to say that shit. Thugs. YNs. Oh, yeah, they're going to paint the fucking picture. But we can't flat out say, look, all roads are leading to, yeah, this may have been racially motivated, especially since all of his white friends that were on that damn boat, instead of coming out with condolences after their friend came up missing and turned up dead, they went and deactivated their social media accounts. That's weird. That's weird. And we're only hearing from the black friends that weren't actually with him the entire time, that weren't on the boat with him. So yeah, it looks racially charged. What's wrong with just saying it like it is? Is it because you got to say certain things in order to gain certain things on the back end? And you don't want to piss whoever is off that can ultimately help you gain those things? I don't know. Because there's just a lot of tiptoeing that I don't feel is necessary.
Evidence is in. And in that light, let me say this, and I'm going to take a brief text and I'll move on. There are those that are so full of hate that they would send hate messages to the house of these parents. They sent one that Christine shared with Attorney Crump and I. And it accused her and Elmer of just stirring trouble and accused the lawyers, Attorney Crump and I, oh, they just want money. First of all, I don't get any money in any of what we do.
And so this thing right here, to feel like you needed to address that, just show us the proof then. You know what I mean? Like just show us. I understand the hate mail part, but particularly honing in on the part where they called you out and called you and Ben Crump out about your motives behind it, and now you're explaining yourself. I don't know. Something about that makes me, I don't know. Something's like, some greedy. I don't know. It's just how it's downloading on me. Because I just wouldn't take this moment at this boy's funeral to address somebody accusing me of having ill intentions with this family that I'm representing. I'm just going to show up and represent the motherfucking family. Fuck what you talking about. I'm going to just say it. The hate mail, ridiculous. How are they stirring up trouble when they're just looking for answers? But I'm going to tell you what, I ain't doing that. Okay, well then show us. Because there's a reason why a lot of people feel that way. No?
Most of the cases that you have seen us do, we help to pay the funerals and all of that, and never ask for a dime back, even if they got settlements. But since Mississippi's so special, I'm not only saying we don't want nothing. I want to say right here now, and I'm inspired by who accused us of that I want to put up from National Action Network and me. I want to offer a reward of $50,000 to anybody.
Here's the thing. When I heard this, I'm listening. I'm like, so the investigation, it must be shitty as hell. It must not be doing exactly what it needs to be doing, because now we got to offer strangers we have to pledge $50,000 for anybody to come with the truth. But we have a group of people that were actually with him, that actually had his belongings after the fact, that we can be putting into a line of questioning, that should be making witness statements and everything like that hasn't actually been done on y'all part. Now we got to pledge $50,000 for the truth to come out, instead of honing in on the people that were actually there. I found that to be a little odd. I do find that to be a little odd. Now this is where we are now. We're not getting, so the DA, the police department, the investigation, whatever the case may be, they're not doing their job correctly, is what you're telling me. That's what that tells me. They ain't doing their job, even though y'all just said y'all talked to the DA. You know what I'm saying? But now we got to offer $50,000 for anybody to say something. Why aren't we forcing the boys that were there to say anything? Now we're going to have a whole bunch of people calling out of nowhere saying they saw something. How do we know what's true? How can we confirm this is what actually happened? There's so many theories out here already. We got them girls already saying, hey, the coroner said, or the transporter said, his body was burned, beaten, bruised up, face down. Somebody else saying they had to pull forensics off his teeth to identify the body. Coast Guard saying this, but the people that are there aren't saying anything, and we're just going to glide past that and not put not put fire under their feet to get them to talking, to get them to speaking on what they saw, exactly what was said, et cetera, et cetera. I don't understand that. But hey, if $50,000 is enough motivation for somebody to come out with the truth, then hey, let's see if it works. But I do find that to be a little odd. Because what the hell are the investigators doing? Who are they investigating that we now have to pledge all this money? I can understand talking to people, ruling all the people that was in the vicinity, that was on that boat, ruling all of them out and confirming, okay, yeah, no, they don't know anything. We've confirmed, blah, 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 blah. Now this is the next step. But we're skipping steps. To me, it just seems like we're skipping a whole bunch of shit.
I want to put a reward up for $50,000 for anybody that could give the information that will lead to an arrest and a conviction in the case of what happened. He was not on that island by himself. somebody saw something and know something. So I didn't come to make money. I came to give money. Stand up and tell the truth, whatever it is.
The fact that we got to pledge all this money to get the truth when we can lie detector testing these motherfuckers that was on that boat. I don't understand. And now we're doing the pledge because they got hate mail accusing y'all of being, I don't know, money hungry and only just looking for a settlement or what have you. Now we want to pledge it. Now you have all this passion and vigor. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm not saying that this isn't the right move, but I just find it interesting, the timing of it all. Why not do that from the jump? It seems like, oh, I'll tell you what, I ain't here to make no money. I'll put up some money. Now we're making it about you. I don't know. It's just weird to me.
Good or bad. We're not going to prejudge it, but we cannot end it until we know all the facts. So all you got to do is reach out to Attorney Crump's office, and National Action Network could do that if it leads to an arrest and conviction. And I guarantee you'll have it before the sun goes down. I want to thank Tyler Perry, who has paid for the funeral. We didn't call him. He called me and said, I want to pay for that. I want to thank Byron Allen and others that have contributed, some that don't even want their name called. I was thinking as a scripture in Genesis, the 4th chapter, that passage that starts at the 2nd verse said, and again, she bore his brother Abel. Now, Abel was a keeper of sheep, and Cain a worker of the ground. In the course of time, Cain brought unto the Lord an offering of fruit of the ground.
Thank
you.
you.
Abel also brought of the firstborn of his flock, and their fat portions. And the Lord had regard for Abel and his offering. But for Cain and his offering, he had no regard. So Cain was very angry, and his face fell. The Lord said to Cain, why art thou angry? And why has your face fallen? If you do well, will you not be accepted? And if you do not do well, sin is crouching at the door. Its desire is contrary to you, but you must rule over it. Cain spoke to Abel, his brother. And when they were in the field, Cain rose up against his brother and killed him. Then the Lord said to Cain, where is Abel, your brother? And he said, I do not know. Am I my brother's keeper? And the Lord said, what have you done? The voice of your brother's blood is crying to me from the ground. May God add a blessing to the reading of his word. The story of what we have faced in America is a question that started in the first book of the Bible with the first siblings. Am I my brother's keeper? Am I my brother's keeper? Or will we, out of some emotions, some anger, some jealousy, some envy, maybe some bigotry, decide rather than deal with building up the beauty that God put in us, that we will harm our brother and that we will harm our sister, and through some malice try to hide it? But the Bible says that the victim's blood cried from the ground. I hear this morning Nolan's blood crying from the ground. Am I my brother's keeper? Or am I the keeper of some secret, some information that you could give and won't stand up? But the blood's gonna haunt you. Those in law enforcement, your job is to follow the oath, not to follow the preference of what goes down. There are those that want me to condemn people before we know whether they're right or wrong. Now, yes, there's some questions around this. And this is not a rally. This is a praise and worship service. And we'll deal with those questions. But, but
it's giving rally. It's giving rally. It's giving rally at this point. You know what I'm saying? This is not, I guess this is a high profile case. Okay. So it's a little different, but it ain't giving typical funeral. It's giving rally. It's giving, you know what I mean? It's giving all of that. I kind of lost my train of thought. Let's continue. It'll come back to me.
I exercised every morning. I tore something in my knee.
Oh, that's what I wanted to say. When he was saying, we're not going to accuse or condemn anybody without knowing any proof. But y'all haven't even brought up the fact that nobody on that boat has been questioned yet. Why not call that out right there Right there. And to those boys that were on that boat, we still waiting to hear from you. We're still waiting to hear your truth. Perfect opportunity. And to the boys that last saw Nolan alive, that claim they said that he went there, and everywhere else, and those stories on, we're still waiting to hear from you. Where y'all at? Why y'all not here right now? Pressure on their ass. Like I will be on their necks. There will be no letting up. I'm making everybody uncomfortable. This is very neutral to me. It's giving like, stay right here. You could say a little bit, but not too much. And this is not a case where you need to just be teetering the fence and staying neutral and not saying the things that need to be said in order to bring forth justice, in my opinion. Again, I didn't even play my little banner. Let me go ahead and play that right now. Make sure y'all like the video. Hype the video when it's all done. Let me give y'all a round of applause for being here on this fine Tuesday afternoon. Oh, wait. One more time. The volume down. Let me play my no disclaimer video real quick. Fair use, fair use, fair use. I don't know anything. I don't know these people. I'm just sharing my thoughts, my views, and my opinions. And telling it like it is. Don't come for me. Don't come for auntie. But yeah, I'm hearing everything you're not saying. I guess that's what it is. You're saying things, but I'm hearing the things that you're not saying that needs to be said. And that's why it's throwing me off.
About 2 weeks ago. And they told me when they did the x-ray, Reverend, that I had torn on my meniscus. And I had to go to get some surgery. And they said, when I went to get surgery, they said, well, wait a minute, your doctor has to give us your history so we don't get the wrong thing to deal with your surgery. So the medication you may have and what you have to do to recoup and the exercise you have, we got to base that on your medical history. Well, the reason why what's happening to Nolan, under unquestioned, unanswered questions, gone, phone and keys found 2 days later. You don't tell nobody you had the phone.
And the people, exactly. So where are they at? Where are their statements? Where is their where are all their what's the word I'm looking for? Like, where's their explanation of the events that happened leading up to them leaving Nolan out there because they claim Nolan wanted to stay out there? Like, shouldn't we have an admission by them by now? Some statements like, okay, this is what happened. This is when we got on the boat. You're calling it out, but not calling it out.
Order keys. When you confronted, you first tell another story. Then when they finally get the phone and the keys, there are things erased from the phone.
Right.
There's just too many unanswered questions.
Right. So why aren't they being questioned by the police? Am I tripping? Why aren't they being questioned by the police? You just said it. All of those things don't make sense. That's suspect as hell. You got his phone, you got his keys, was not willing to give over his belongings immediately. They had to ping it. They had to beg you for it. Y'all sitting in the house in the dark, chilling, coming out, talking about, well, that was my bro, and all this other stuff, already looking guilty. But yet, y'all ain't been sat in a police interrogation yet. You was the last boy with this phone, and now we looked in his phone, and everything from that day has been deleted. How'd you get his phone? How'd you get in this phone? It's I don't get it.
Saying that he told us he was leaving the island. So I don't know an 18-year-old person, black, white, or undecided, that gives somebody their phone. I'm a lot older than 18. I wouldn't trust Crump with my phone. So we just raising the questions. Where is my brother? He went out with y'all. He came back not with the where is my brother? And because of the background, like they asked me before they give me surgery, they went to my medical history. So the reason why a lot of people in the nation are looking at this Nolan situation is that we've looked at history in Mississippi. Some of us remember what happened in Mississippi. And because of what happened in Mississippi, doesn't mean it's guilty today, but before we can medicate and heal today, we got to look at your history. Because history will decide, can you handle the medication? I look back into history, and I noticed that Emmett Till happened here. All the way to Medgar Evers happened here.
And see, this is why y'all, and this is another thing. It's very interesting that that is the same state where this where the tragedy of Emmett Till happened. And also I've been seeing people make connections to the similarities in Nolan Wells' mom and the similarities to Emmett Till's mom, and they're comparing how much they damn near look alike. What, you know what I mean? Like, that's weird. That's a weird coincidence. Something, that's why I said, y'all, this boy definitely is deceased, but this shit is deeper than what is meeting the eye. It is deeper than what is on the surface. It's too many weird coincidences. The climate is just off. And then he's going on this rant about, we know the history, but you're not really calling the history out, though. We know the history when black bodies come up dead in Mississippi and how y'all don't really do anything to bring black bodies justice. We know that's what happens in the state of Mississippi. You're not saying the thing. You're just saying things, you know?
Yeah. Based on the history, we got to be able to dig deep. We can't have people in law enforcement saying there was no foul play before an investigation. We got to look at the history. Now, I know, and I told Christine and Elmer, they're going to say, you had Sharpton come down, and that could be controversial, but don't get me wrong. I grew up in Brooklyn, New York.
Y'all, this is about him. That's what was irritating me when I was watching it yesterday. And I guess he was just trying to like use his personal life stories to make a connection, but first, we're talking about your doctor's appointments and you getting on medication. So you see how they had to look at my medical history to give me the right medication for right now. Now we're talking about where you grew up from. And it's just like, okay, bro. Okay. This should be all about Nolan. This should be all about the family. I don't know. It's just odd to me. You know what I mean? Like it's a diversion. Take it off of Nolan, put it on me, and I'm gonna just try to tell these stories to make correlations that really don't. Like, what is it actually doing? What is the impact that this is having? I don't know.
I grew up in a section called Brownsville.
This story was kind of weird to me.
My parents had a nice home in Queens, nice middle class home, and Daddy left, and Mom had to move to a tenement in Brownsville. I didn't grow up in Fort Greene like Spike Lee. They were middle class. We was poor. We weren't even poor. We was poor. And we had, Spike don't know about this, but we had roaches. And I remember I went one night and I went in the kitchen. Sister had gone to bed, mother had gone to bed. I looked in the kitchen and I saw these roaches all over the kitchen. And I'm looking for the raid. Some of y'all grew up like me, know what raid is. I'm looking for the raid to spray the roaches. I ran and woke up my sister. And I said, there's roaches all over the kitchen. She said, I said, get up, you gotta help me. There's roaches all over the kitchen. She kind of stumbled and come down the hall and hit the switch and fixing her eyes. And when she looked, she said, no roaches in here. I said, no, they were right here. She said, you woke me up, I don't see no roaches. She went into bed, she was angry, didn't want to hear from me. I went back again and looked in the kitchen, roaches everywhere. I went back and grabbed it again. I said, come on. You got to see it. I'm not kidding. She stumbled in. She cut the light on. Roaches was gone. So I'm down in the little hallway trying to figure this out. And I figured it out, that when you cut the light on, the roaches run. I did not come to Mississippi to cause no trouble. I come to cut the light on.
Okay.
And if we cut the lights on, you're going to see roaches start running all over. It's time to cut the light on. It's time to get rid of our differences. It's time to let love rule over hate.
No,
For a new
no, I don't like that. No, I don't like that. That doesn't make sense, Reverend Al-Sharpton. I'm sorry, respectfully. No, it's time to put away our differences. No, our differences is what got us in this situation in the first place. How they feel about their differences towards us is why we're here in the first place. It is not on us to give these motherfuckers grace. It is not on us to constantly we got to be the ones to kick off the togetherness. No. Another thing with these people, with these white folks coming out saying, oh, if you're the only black person around, just don't go. You're going to end up hurt. Yeah, thanks for that. But why not tell your people to stop killing niggas? Why don't we start there? Why do we always have to be the ones to do something different to try to get a different outcome? And y'all hold all the power. Y'all the ones doing all the reckless violence against particularly black people. You're saying all of it because saying we got to put away our differences when that state of Mississippi is clearly showing that because this is a black case of a black boy and because of the history, because of those differences between a black boy dying and a white boy dying in Mississippi, they're showing us how they're going to handle it. So why you don't tell them to put away their differences and actually do their job and try to bring forth some justice here? It just doesn't seem like, again, it's too neutral. It's not enough rage for me. Fuck that. No, ain't no love right now. Love for what? That boy is supposedly in that casket right now while they still waiting on autopsy reports, which confuses the fuck out of me. Right? Still don't have any real answers on what happened. And you want to talk to me about some fucking love? Absolutely not. Them boys on that boat didn't show no love. And again, who's the captain of the boat? Where he at? Because them boys weren't driving that damn boat. And that's a motherfucking fact. Okay? Who are the adults? It wasn't even the captain that made the call to, the Coast Guard when they were claiming that their boat was sinking. Usually the captain would be the one to make that call. No? I've been on plenty of boats. Trust me when I tell you, there is a certain safety protocol that you must follow in order to keep your captain license, in order to maintain your boating license. Flat out. And it doesn't seem like whoever was driving that boat was doing any of that. But let's keep going. I just don't think this, like I said, we got the media here. And again, we're putting black faces in front of media to be the ones to say, peace, 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 love, 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 in the midst of us facing all this damn injustice. We've been doing that and we're steadily getting the same results. We got to do something different is all I'm saying. This ain't it for me. I'm sorry.
It's time for a new coming together. It's time for us to stand together no matter who's wrong. God will make a way.
Stand together no matter who's wrong. When have they ever done that?
For his children. That's why God can use this occasion to make blacks and whites in a state with a bad history say in Nolan's name, we're going to come together and we're going to find out the truth here together. We're going to love together. We're going to make his name be the difference between those of the past. We're going to have some justice and some fairness, no matter what it is. We're going to cut the light on, or we're going to get rid of the roaches. Thank you, and God bless you.
I don't know. We're going to get rid of the roaches. Yeah, that was a hell of a speech for Nolan Wells' funeral, Reverend Al Sharpton. I mean, but think about the story, though. Because if you turn the light on, the roaches scatter. So that means you never really find the roaches to kill them, do you? You're turning the light on in Mississippi. Really turning the light on to actually make an execution and get rid of the so-called roaches or what? Because like you said, you shine them on, you don't see them anymore. So then what? Are you setting traps? Do you have your raid? Do you have your insect repellent? I don't know. You know what I mean? Seems like turning the light on in Mississippi is going to do what if your analogy is saying that when you turn the light on, you don't see them anymore. You don't see who the bad guys are anymore is ultimately what you're saying. I don't know. That was weird to me. Rest in peace, Nolan Wells, and to the family. I send all of my condolences 100%. But this right here was giving performative to me, y'all. That's just the way it's settled in my spirit. It's just like, what? I would not. No, get off the stage. No. I'm here to get the roach.
Before we leave, I must hear from where we go from here and the family as we pursue an open, impartial look at what happened to Noel. May we hear from the Attorney General of Black America, Attorney Benjamin Crump.
Y'all give it up for Reverend Al Sharpton. What a message. What a message. Justice for Nolan Wells. Justice for Nolan Wells. Justice for Nolan Wells. Justice for Nolan Wells. Now let's ask so his family.
At the funeral. Was the DA there? You know what I'm saying? Like, justice for Nolan Wells, yes. We want to chant this. We want to make sure that we find him justice, but shouting it out over and over again at the funeral, is that bringing us closer when we're 2 weeks out now? Have anybody rallied outside that police station? Rallied outside any of them boys' houses? Back in the day, motherfuckers used to show up at people's houses and stand out there and demand answers. None of that's happening, huh? Where that judge at? The judge that was talking about she's super good friends with Christine and that's her home girl and they went to school together. Nolan was like a son of her. Bitch, where was you at? Huh? That's why I said, y'all, I don't want to hear nothing else about this shit until we get somebody arrested, because clearly there's foul play. You can't not agree to that. You can't rule that out. And they're immediately trying to rule that out. At least the sheriff is, and the people that are speaking on behalf of the state of Mississippi coming out and say there's no foul play, there's no foul play, before we even got a damn autopsy report result. It's foul play all in the game. What's going on? Making me mad.
We know they are not alone. Justice for Nolan Wells.
Oh.
Thank you.
Oh, Lord.
I stand before you with a plea for justice. I'm so grateful that Reverend Al Sharpton, America's civil rights leader, did not think it robbery to stand with Christine and Elmo and all of their family, to let them know that despite what some people may say or do that is so insensitive, so disrespectful, so inhumane, while you all are grieving the worst loss that any parent could have, that people from New York, people from Los Angeles, people from Chicago, Detroit, London, Paris, all over the world has been calling Nolan Wells' name. Justice for Nolan Wells. I'm so very grateful, Reverend Al, Reverend Toon, that we have a great team of lawyers and investigators, because it's always a team effort. As I heard Elmo often talk about to y'all, Nolan was a great teammate. And everybody who's ever played on a team and who has been successful in their endeavor understands that you're only as good as your teammates are. So I want to just acknowledge Attorney Lisa Park, Attorney Eric Hertz, Attorney Gary Buffkin, Attorney Carlos Moore, Attorney Camila Moore, and all those great paralegals and investigators and activists. All the people who are encouraging people to call and give us information so we can get to the truth of what happened to Nolan Wells.
This is pissing me off. I'm sorry. The truth is with everybody that was on that damn boat. Why are you taking calls from people that weren't on that damn boat instead of putting the pressure on the people that was on the boat? Where's the captain? Where's the co-captain? Where are the witness statements from everybody that was from Nolan's friends that he was with on that boat? They should be willing to be forthcoming with that. But now we're just opening the lines of what's the truth? What's the truth? But where's the truth? Where's the pressure on the people that were actually with him? Where's the pressure with the people that had his belongings once he turned up dead and missing? We talking to everybody else. We didn't talk to Tracy. His mama said, I don't even know that boy. Mama said, I don't even know that boy. Talking to the black football coach or whatever coach that he was from the high school. Talking about ain't no racial tensions. He was so good. Da, 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 da. Talking to Jalen, who's on TMZ, talking about no, that was somebody else fighting. Da, 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 da. Everybody talking about the motherfuckers that was on that damn boat. And now y'all at this boy's funeral talking about call us, tell us the information. The information is literally right there on that damn boat. it was at least 7 people on that boat because it was 5 friends total, wasn't it? It was Nolan, or maybe it was 4 of them total. Nolan and 3 other of those white boys that we could see, right? No, it was 5 of them. It was the 5 white boys and then Nolan. I'm saying 7 people because it's 5 of the boys, a captain, and likely there's a co-captain, especially for a charter like that long on an island. It ain't just a one-person captain with 5 people on board. But none of them people, we haven't heard from any of them. Why is that? Why is that, Ben Crump?
We want to thank you all. It matters. It matters. We're on a ferocious search for the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God. And so it is very important that you all understand our legal team. And we have these great co-counsels. But Reverend
Very great observation.
Anybody who's seeking the truth for what happened to Nolan Wells, I want you all to know that you all are our co-counsels. Amen? Y'all all our co-counsels. And on this legal team, we stand for truth, no matter who it implicates or exonerates. We stand for justice, no matter who it convicts or who it acquits. We stand for transparency because we don't need law enforcement to narrate, because we want transparency because we can see. We don't need them to tell us what they think. And that's why we need all of you to encourage people who are on Horn Island on July 4th. If you took a picture, if you have a video, if you have Snapchat, if you have anything, we are pleading on behalf of Elmo and especially on behalf of Christine. As she said, any parent would want the answers as to what happened to their child. They went out on the boat came back, and Nolan washed up on the shore 2 days later dead. When you want answers, when you want transparency, when you want the truth, when you want justice, I mean,
so ask the people that was on that damn boat. It's too much hype for me. It's too much. When you want it, yeah. So we need to interrogate everybody that was on that damn boat. We need all their phones. We need all their statements. Y'all not letting up. Y'all, everybody on house arrest. We need to talk to them. But that's not happening from what I could see. Especially if y'all saying y'all still don't have any answers. You're saying you want justice and you want answers, but are you asking the right questions to the right people? It doesn't give. That is what it's happening.
Much to ask. I think so much about Reverend Allen and all these cases where we champion the cause for justice, whether it was any number of young people. I think about Trayvon Martin. I think about Michael Brown. I think about Breonna Taylor. I think about Botham Jones. I think about Stephon Clark. I think about Sonia Massey. I think about so many of our children that were taken from us in highly questionable circumstances. And all the time when Reverend Al and NAACP and leaders show up to say, hold on, we want answers. We want answers because we love our children just like you love your children. Our tears are just as painful as your tears. Our pain hurts just as much as your pain. So whatever you would do for your children, if they were on that boat on Horn Island on July 4th, we want you to do it for Nolan Wells. Whatever investigation you would give for your children, we want you to do it for Nolan Wells. Whatever searches you would do on people's phones for your children, we want you to do that for Nolan Wells.
I'm sorry, bro. This is really inappropriate for a funeral, in my opinion. This sounds like this should have been said at a press conference. This sounds like this should have been said at a rally. But hey, that's just me. Go off, King.
Do it for Nolan Wells. Because really, if we're thinking like co-counsels, understand that Nolan Wells was the son of Christine and Elmore, but he really was all of our sons. Because if something this tragic can happen to their son, it can happen to your children. So we all have to stand up together and say we're fighting for justice for Nolan Wells because he is our son too. And they want us to be quiet. Reverend Holmes, they want us, Crump, why don't y'all just...
Who wants you to be quiet? Who is telling y'all to be quiet about this? Because that needs to be put on blast.
Go ahead and, we already told you it was no foul play. What do you keep making so much noise? Well, until we get answers, until we get to truth, until we get to justice, we're going to stand up and we're going to keep ringing the justice bells for Nolan Wells. We're going to ring the justice bells for Nolan Wells here in Mississippi. We're going to ring the justice bells for Nolan Wells in the United States of America. We're going to ring the justice bells for Nolan Wells all over the world because Nolan's life matters. 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 Nolan's life matters.
It's a rally. Ooh, child. That was a lot. But someone put in the comments, I want to read this. I also noticed that too. Not one friend, and thank you again, McDowell, for being here. Not one friend or family member got to say anything about their friend. That's what I'm saying. This isn't your typical normal funeral. All the people that are speaking on Nolan Wells are the attorneys and the civil. And Al Sharpton and the parents. I mean, okay, but it is a little odd to me.
At some point, the cameras are going to go away, the crowds are going to go away, the government investigation is going to go away, and they're going to feel so alone, as if nobody cared, that nobody felt that Nolan's life mattered. So I want you to stand to your feet and let them know that Nolan's life matters. 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 Nolan's life matters.
Let me say to Christine and Elmo, before we do the prayer of committal and escort the family out, I just got a text, Christine and Elmo, you know that Tyler Perry said he would pay for the funeral. He must be watching because he said, I'm gonna match you and put up $50,000 more. So we putting up $100,000 for anybody that'll come forward. We just want the truth, that's all. We just want the truth.
That's crazy. I find it to be very crazy that they got to do all that for the truth, and all the suspects are right there in the state of Mississippi. They right there. So now we got to offer money for other people that weren't there to maybe come out with the truth, because ain't nobody that was actually there going to be calling in. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know if that's the way. So y'all, that was the funeral. Shout out to ABC. So now I want to get into the press conference that happened immediately after the funeral. And you guys, make sure you like the video. Make sure you have the video at the end. But that was the funeral, and that funeral was a lot. That was it. That was the whole funeral, y'all. It was singing at the beginning. A pastor read some words. A pastor of that church read some words. Al Sharpton came out, introduced the family. The family spoke. Al Sharpton came back out, told 3 stories about him. Then Ben Crump came up and said, say his name, Nolan Wells. You know what I mean? And now, at the end of that funeral, Al Sharpton let us know, oh, Tyler Perry is actually going to match you and offer another $50,000 to bring forth justice and to bring and to try to find the truth. And it's something about paying somebody for the truth that don't seem right to me. That don't seem right to me. Because if there was really no foul play and everybody is so innocent, it would take nothing from them friends on that boat. They should all be at the front and center. Like we want to know what happened too. We want to know too. We want to say anything that will help this investigation, but they're not doing that. And I find that Al Sharpton and Ben Crump are just asking all these other questions to people who can't really give real answers. Find that to be weird. But let me go ahead and play the press conference real quick, because this is when I was like, okay, I see what's going on here. More bullshit in the game. Okay, so let's get into it.
That be mindful of the fact that these 2 parents have just funeralized their son, and we would hope you respect that. They've just got off the phone with Tyler Perry, thanking him again for paying for the funeral, and now matching me and putting up now a $100,000 reward for anyone that gives information that
What's up, B. Taylor?
To the arrest and prosecution and conviction of someone if a crime was committed. We are committed in Nash Action Network and other organizations to stand for this family. It does not end with the funeral. We intend to be vigilant on this local investigation, and we intend to push as hard as we can to find out what happened, what was this cause of this tragedy. Clearly, the inconsistencies and unanswered questions leaves a serious cloud. We are not making direct accusations, and we don't appreciate those that are making them against Nolan.
And I feel the fact that he always has to say that, why not? Why not say, I think them boys on that boat had something to do with this shit, because they ain't talking. That's the truth. Why you tiptoeing? I don't like that.
We want the truth, and sometimes the truth hurts, and sometimes the truth is also something that is required. So we'll take your questions, Attorney Ben Crump and I, and if you have something that is that you want to ask the family. Again, if you go beyond the boundaries of what is appropriate, I will stop the question, not the family, because they're not here to be ridiculed. They're here because they're mourning, and they had enough heart to say they would come with us to the press conference. I want to say something.
Just very briefly, I want to.
They just had a funeral. They just had a funeral. And was there a burial? You know what I mean? I didn't hear anything about them, going to a burial site. Maybe it was private. Maybe, media wasn't a part of that process. But immediately after my son's funeral, I got to go and show up to this press conference to continue to put myself in front of it. It's like, okay. I hope they're not forcing this lady and this family to actually do that. Because why not just speak on their behalf? The family is with family right now for the for the repast and the burial. At this time, we'll be speaking on behalf of the family at this press conference, et cetera, et cetera. But it's like, wherever is a camera, they're dragging this family in front of it, saying the same thing over and over again, not bringing them any further to justice, from what I could see.
Thank Reverend Al Sharpton and National Action Network and Mr. Tyler Perry, because we're in a ferocious search for the truth. And we know there were hundreds of people on Horn Island. Many of them have contacted us saying that they believe that they need to tell the family their truths directly. For whatever reasons, they said, we may call the law enforcement agencies, but we want to tell you all the truth of what we saw or what we videotaped or photographs we took. And we believe that everybody should want the same thing, the truth, and it is imperative as soon as possible. Do not let time continue. It's been 2 weeks now almost.
Yeah.
Let's intensify. And that's why I'm grateful for the reward. Let's intensify this search for the truth.
That reward only came out because somebody called out Al Sharpton. That reward, I just don't think that reward is going to bring forth the truth. It's not. It's not. In what way how can you confirm the truth? You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know, y'all.
Because they have a tendency to sweep things under the rug as time goes by. We don't want too much time to go by. When memories get foggy, when people start to feel pressure, they heard a law enforcement person say no foul play, so they don't feel like if they say anything, it's going to be attacked. No. Tell us. We want to evaluate every aspect to be able to give Christine and Elmore answers.
If there was no foul play, nobody should have an issue with coming forth and saying anything about anything, period. If there was no foul play, like they want us to believe, then talk about it. Talk about it. It's too much mystery.
As to why Nolan Wells is dead and not with us. And so with that, we will take your questions if you have any.
Please identify your outlet and say your name.
Tristan Smith from Dayline NBC. First, thank you for allowing us here today. I'm praying for your family, and I hope you get answers to your questions soon. I just want to know, with the community turnout, the football players there, the state reps, everybody came out today. What does that mean to you and your family?
That means a lot. Again, that is a testament to who Nolan is and was as a person, how many people he touched. It's also a testament to those who have questioned our parenting, what type of parents we are to all of our children. And we just cannot thank our community enough for rallying around us during this time. Also, again, to Colin Kaepernick, Tyler Perry, Byron Allen, like just so much love from places we could have never imagined. And we're grateful. Thank you.
Danielle Willis, WJTV out of Jackson. And again, my condolences as well to you all. We're praying for you in your comment. What would transparency look like to you? I know we spoke about transparency during the eulogy. What are you hoping and wanting from investigators?
The truth. I think that we need to hear exactly with evidence of what they say happened. I think that part of what embellished the concerns we had was for someone in law enforcement here to say, we see no foul play. So they're really going to have to show us one way or another where they go from here. The fact is that you cannot convince many of us, given the unanswered questions, cell phones, stuff taken off the cell phone, keys, all of which was at first denied. And no one they did not come to the family. The family started missing him and searching for him. All of that does not add up.
Right. So why aren't they in police custody? That's tampering with evidence. That's, that's delaying a police investigation. That's all of the things that don't work in favor of this case. You're saying the thing out loud. So why aren't they being held accountable for how they were moving after this boy came up missing?
So what we would want to see is something that adds up to the same truth, not adds up to just some loosely connected stories.
The only thing I would add to Reverend Al's answer to your question, what is transparency to us? It is truly having a fair and impartial investigation as if Nolan, the facts were reversed. I mean, it's inescapable. People often talk about, well, you all keep interjecting race. Well, y'all know in every situation, that is a identifier when you're talking about matters. We hear black on black crime, it's inescapable. And so we want to really be able to say to this family, but to America, it was a fair investigation. Everything they did had the roles been reversed racially, where they had 3 young black men and a white man died after being on the boat. You have a cell phone. Those are the things that we're searching for. Did you search their phones? You be talking about Nolan's phone. Those are the questions that transparency, the autopsy, we're waiting for it. It shouldn't take that long. We want those answers. And so transparency is giving complete equity to this family, a fair and thorough, impartial investigation where we know that due process was respected every step of the way. And many have questions.
Due process wasn't respected because everybody's phone should have been confiscated immediately after the incident happened. Immediately. We need everybody's phones. That boat is now a crime scene. None of that happened though.
And so we are trying to be respectful and collaborative as much as we can. We
Collaborative.
hope that they will give the same to us.
And they're not.
And
they're not.
And I'm just wondering, does it bother you a little bit that we don't have that news conference where officials are given a timeline, where they map things out for what they know, where they share as much information as they have with the public? Because obviously people are paying attention.
Ryan, it's always troublesome to all of us when these investigations just take forever. I mean, 6 months to get a toxicology report back, to get an autopsy done, as if, the longer we let it go, the more people forget, other things happen, it gets swept under the rug. And so that's what's important, to have a timeline. And when you don't have that timeline, you start to say, oh, what Nolan Wells, what happened? I mean, I remember that case, but we got no answers. And so that's the trouble about having a timeline. And so that's why the people who are calling us, I mean, we have people presenting videos, and it's so helpful as we try to put this puzzle together. People are talking about their boats, and when they were out there, when they were in earshot of Nolan and people on the boat, we need all of that information because we want to make sure what goes to the grand jury is accurate. Right. We know when it goes to the grand jury, we never will know what happened in that grand jury. That's why we're collecting affidavits. Did this get presented to the grand jury? It's never lost on me. It's never lost on me. You can get an indictment on a ham sandwich in the grand jury if you want to. Mm-hmm. The question is, are you trying to get to the truth? Are you trying to help keep the truth hidden from us? And that's what we're fighting for. The last thing I would say is this, and it's important. There are people who are presenting videos, photographs that may show Nolan was on the boat with the person, Katie. We got to fully bet that I respect so much what my mentor Reverend Al said up there. We're going to go wherever the truth leads us. We want the truth, no matter who it implicates or exonerates. We want justice, no matter who it acquits or convicts. So we know they're telling 2 different stories. The boys telling one story, Katie telling one story. What is the truth?
One more question, just obviously mom and dad.
I wish one of the reporters would have followed up with that, with the boys that were involved. Have they been questioned by the police? Have they been questioned by the police? Can we know what was said from them to the police? What are their accounts of the situation that happened?
Thank you for doing this and talking with us. But so many people from the community, both black and white, showed up today. Coaches said that they would love to have your son be their son. When you hear men and teammates reflect on your son's life and the way they have, can you explain to us what that sounds like in your hearts?
To me, that sounds like me and my wife did an excellent job at raising a fine young man.
Yes.
Nolan was loved by many, both young and old. He helped a lot of people. No matter if you were regular or handicapped, people still love Nolan. He would help special needs. He would help special needs kids all the time. Basketball, teach them how to play basketball. I mentioned in my speech about getting phone calls and emails. There was a father who asked Nolan to help his special needs son play basketball, and Nolan did it willingly. And that made that kid's day. And he seen me out one day, and he couldn't stop thanking me and praising me, for the son that I raised and how much they meant to his son. So as far as I'm concerned, we did a great job.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
One more question. We were asking, did you guys ever get the incident report back? You know, it was an issue getting it.
No, we brought it up in our meeting, so hopefully we will address that. Won't be today, but we will address that.
Okay.
Incident report. That report, it was a very quick question. He answered it very quickly. He said, do we have any updates on the incident report? No, we don't. We talked about it, but we still haven't gotten it yet. Every single report, autopsy report, incident report, witness statements, everything has been delayed. Everything has been pushed to the side. Everything is just taking their time. They're moving at like a glacial speed.
Hi, my name is Ken. I'm from DFW Night Shift Crime in Dallas, Texas. Just want to offer my condolences to you. I wanted to ask you, what does honoring Nolan's legacy look like for your family moving forward? Are there any foundations, scholarships, community initiatives, or causes you hope people will support in his memory?
Absolutely. This is actually something my cousin Keezy and I have briefly discussed. But of course, with everything that's going on, we want things to kind of cool down a little bit. My husband and I, honestly, we have not fully processed this.
You said they have been interrogated where? If they've been interrogated, wouldn't we know more information about what happened to them? We haven't heard anything. And again, why would they not speak on this? And why would they immediately delete all of their social medias if they didn't do anything wrong? That's what I want to know, if that was asked to these boys, if there was an interrogation that happened and asked them those particular questions. Why'd you have to go deleting everything? Why are you ducking and dodging shit? So I don't know. I don't know if that's true.
We have not fully grieved Nolan, but that is the plan, is to come up with some foundation, just honor him, but also to United Cajun Navy. Big help, boots on the ground almost immediately after I spoke with Josh Gill. So, we have to remember those types of organizations in our communities and utilize them, but also give back to them. So that is our hope, that we'll be able to give as much as we've been given during this time.
Yeah.
Is there any update to the independent autopsy that you guys requested?
Sure. And just on that last question, a very good question. Christine and Elmore and Cliff Jones and Lisa Park at office, they talk frequently, and that's one of the things she stressed at the funeral service. She wanted to celebrate his life and define what his legacy will be. So we look forward to working to define his legacy. Nobody else is going to define his legacy, but the people who knew him best. Yeah. As it relates to the independent autopsy, we are looking to have findings sooner rather than later, obviously.
Now, the independent autopsy is the one Ben Crump initiated, right? Mississippi is still dragging ass with theirs, but Ben Crump was like, we're going to take this body to DC, do our own autopsy. He's still waiting on his autopsy as well. Interesting.
You want stuff from the first autopsy because they had the body closer to time. We got the body almost 6 days later, Dr. Roger Mitchell. So there are limitations as to what he could do. So, you do the best you can, but
He's saying a lot. He's saying, we don't have our autopsy report yet. We didn't get that body until 6 days later, after they did their autopsy. And we still have to do our autopsy to see what's going on. Let me replay that one more time.
do. So, you adopt Roger Mitchell. So there are limitations as to what he could do. So,
there are limitations. See, that's what's bothering me. What are the limitations? What do you mean? So because they had their autopsy done first and you got the body 6 days later, now your private individual autopsy can't be done thoroughly because there's only so much you can do now because what? They tampered with the body? What does that mean? What do you mean it's only so much your private investigation of the autopsy can do? Because what that tells me is we're not going to get any real answers. There's only so much we can do. That's a red flag for me. Because why not? What are they doing with that damn body?
You do the best you can, but there are unanswered questions. So he's getting his report together. I believe it will be coming very soon. Yeah.
Okay. And I did hear there is some breaking news that autopsy is coming soon today. Hold on. Let's keep playing it.
Wait, let me take one. I'm gonna take three more. 1, 2, and come back to you.
Janelle Griffith with People Magazine. I also want to extend my condolences and to thank you for allowing the media to come. I know you didn't have to allow us to be here. I just had two small questions, both related to cell phones. One of the things that came out of your meeting with the local DA was that you agreed you would both analyze Nolan's phone. I wanted to know when that might take place. And the other was that at the end of the last press conference, you said you wanted everybody's cell phones looked at. So that, to me, that meant the other young men that were with Nolan that day. Did you communicate that to the DA, and what did she say? If so, have they analyzed their phones? Do they plan to?
I did communicate that to the district attorney. Whether they're going to do that, that's a question that you have to ask them. But we thought that it's only fair if we're going to.
What? See, that's troublesome. That's troublesome. Yeah, I asked them, but it's up to them if they're going to do it. I mean, that was very nonchalant. That was very, yeah, we said it's only fair, but I mean, it's just a request. That tells me that it may not happen and it's out of his hands if it doesn't. We put in the request, but it's up to them. What? So they got this whole thing in the bag, right? They're in control of how this whole thing is going to come out because they can easily say, nah, we don't want to investigate the phones anymore. And we just got to take that. That's a weird thing to say.
Attorney, whether they're going to do that, that's a.
Hold on.
Plan to?
I did communicate that to the district attorney. Whether they're going to do that, that's a question that you have to ask them. But we thought that it's only fair if we're going to look at Nolan's phone, we should look at the other people who were with Nolan that day. Because again, we just want equal justice. We think that if Nolan was on that boat, roles were reversed, they would look at his phone. And so.
Hold on. No. One more time.
Were with Nolan that day.
Have they analyzed their phones? Do they plan to?
I did communicate that to the district attorney. Whether they're going to do that, that's a question that you have to ask them. But we thought.
I did pose a question to the district attorney. Whether or not they're going to actually do that, you would have to ask them. Okay.
That it's only fair if we're going to look at Nolan's phone, we should look at the other people who were with Nolan that day. Because again, we just want equal justice. We think that if Nolan was on that boat, roles were reversed, they would look at his phone. And so that is going to be important. We have not established a time yet of when we're going to do the mutual inspection of the cell phone. We have to do.
Haven't established a time yet. Why not? This is pertinent information. We've already been to, we're almost a month now with no answers. No, all these unanswered questions, no autopsy reports. You still waiting on yours. They still waiting on theirs. But we got a body in a casket doing funerals. And when we're asking about, okay, well, what about what you said you're going to get a review of everybody's phone? Nolan's phone and the boys said, well, I asked them, but I don't know. It's up to them. Only so much they can do with the autopsy. We ain't established a timeline. Why not? A timeline needs to be established. We need the review on all these phones by XYZ. Or we're going to kick this shit up a notch. Period. Obviously, I'm not in law enforcement. I'm not, I don't know anything about how these things go, but I'm just saying just naturally, because like he already mentioned, you delay things so long, people start to forget stuff. Your memory starts to get foggy. You don't know what's going on. No, we need this turned over immediately because this is a fresh case. Time is of the essence. But he's just like, we don't know yet. Ask them. That's weird to me. I know he's a great lawyer, but this is weird to me. I don't feel a sense of urgency for anybody for this family.
Some technical things, we're getting our experts together, working with phone companies and so forth, but we hope to do that sooner rather than later. This was a big first step for the family getting through the day, so now we can get laser focused on all those things to finish this investigation.
Also with WLOX, Ben, you had mentioned that it had been a couple of days, I think you had said 6 days since after the state's autopsy was done before you were able to get access to the body. I know whenever it first came out, it was being flown to DC and then autopsy planned for that Friday. Can you confirm when that autopsy was done?
They had weather issues, so I do think they got the body Friday night or Saturday morning around that time.
Is that the same day that the autopsy was?
I can't confirm that. I know they received the body, and I think they immediately went to it. It would be in the report the date they did the autopsy. Yes.
Miss Selena Charles, the purpose of the people. You guys are supposed to be having a rally on the 26th. Is that still on our turn?
Well, I think that was the community, people who are activists who we're very grateful, standing up, demanding a fair and impartial investigation. And we want to say thank you to all the community leaders and activists standing up saying, no, we want a timeline. We want transparency.
Yeah.
We want them to check cell phones. We want everything that you would.
Are you saying that though? Are you saying that? Representing the family, you're accepting we don't have a timeline yet, and you're appreciating everybody else demanding it, but we're not the ones that can move the needle. You know what I mean? You got to be the one on their ass, Mr. Crump, from what I understand. So that was the press conference that happened right after the funeral, which I thought, again, very odd thing to do. The funeral didn't really feel like a funeral, and then you want to direct this family immediately back into more cameras to talk to the media. You know what I mean? It seems off. So now I want to play this video of the Coast Guard, right? Who came out and spoke to TMZ. Somehow TMZ is getting all the information from people involved, allegedly, right? Hold on, wait, not this video. Not you, hun bun, not you. Let me go down. It's this one. Because I want to play what he had to say. Well, you know what? We go ahead and play this.
Ground.
We just started right about here. I'm not sure. Okay, yeah, this is from TMZ. Shout out to TMZ.
You know, from when Nolan Wells.
All right, thank you for your commentary, bud.
I think the first dispatch came in through one of our channels, through either a family member or family friend of Nolan's, who ultimately put our incident commander in touch with his mother, who at that point was in full-on search mode. She at that point was very concerned that he was actually missing and was doing everything. They were doing everything they could to kind of retrace his steps, get his phone, get his keys, all that. So really, it was the next morning when we were told that there was going to be another boat going out, possibly containing some of Nolan's family. I'm not sure what the details were of that in the morning on 5 July. That would have been Sunday. And by late morning, we had gotten basically another call saying, hey, if you guys have any boats in the area and can go out there and canvass the island, would appreciate it. So I had two of my volunteers from the Mississippi chapter from Ocean Springs, actually, that put in like say midday on 5 July. They went out to Horn Island. They went on the island first, took a drone, looked around all over from an aerial view, and then they ran a grid between Horn Island and Ship Island with the boat. Both of these volunteers, one's a rescue specialist, one's actually a member of law enforcement, so they have a lot of experience. And they stayed at it for a few hours, and then the weather started to deteriorate, so they came back in. That's when we knew we were done for the day on 5 July. We made the decision that on 6 July, if the weather permitted, we were going to put an aircraft up because we were getting further and further away from the last time Nolan was seen alive. So that's when we put that aircraft up. We were wheels up out of Gulfport International at about 06:30 on 6 July.
Right. And so, when you first get the call, how did the United Cajun Navy get looped in? Was it through Christine Monsley's social post, or was it after? Was it, through your own accord?
Yeah, so the way that happened is, my understanding is that when people started posting on social media about Nolan being missing, that a lot of people started tagging the United Cajun Navy, basically just kind of making us aware that this was going on, and then ultimately kind of sequencing to asking us for help. Like I said, there was an official message. I don't know if it came through our voicemail or through one of our email and one of our social media messaging platforms, but somebody made contact with, and our incident commander, I think, was either monitoring messages or one of our people monitoring told him about the message that came through. Whoever that person was, it wasn't Nolan's mother, but whoever it was knew her and knew how to get in touch with her, and ultimately put our incident commander in touch with Christine that night on 4 July.
I have a question for you. Given the call to the Coast Guard at 11 p.m. and then the request for help the following day from JCSO at around noon, did you feel like you were starting the search a little bit later than you should be?
There wasn't really, there wasn't anything that we could have done on the night of July 4th, to be honest. But also, too, at that point, I still didn't know. I'll put it this way. On July 4th, when I went to sleep, I didn't know if they had finally gotten in contact with Nolan, if he had come home, if they had found out any new information. It wasn't until the morning of July 5th when I learned that he was still missing overnight. And that's when I became very concerned that, okay, he didn't come home all night. That's a bad sign. And so it was that point when they started calling for all hands and said, okay, we'll put a boat in the water. And then that led to the activities of our search crews on 5 July.
Can you talk to me about the water conditions? What did the water conditions look like that night from where you were?
You're talking about the day he went missing or the day we started searching?
The day you started searching.
They were pretty similar to, for the most part of the day, they were pretty similar to the conditions on the 4th of July. They were fairly calm. There was strong currents, but not really big waves, not a lot of wind. It was very hot. Water temperatures were upper 70s, low 80s. Toward the late afternoon, a little front moved in from the west, and presumably it chopped up the Mississippi Sound at that point. But again, our guys aborted when they saw that weather coming. So that was probably like by 3 or 4 o'clock the afternoon of 5 July is when they had to abort that search. And then that night when I huddled with my team, that was when we made the decision that, putting out another boat on Monday, presumably with the weather clearing up, was really going to be futile because at this point we're getting too far away from the last time he was seen alive. So we needed to cover more ground quickly, and that's why they're using aircraft.
You were involved when the body was eventually located and found. What can you tell me about the state and position that the body was in that hasn't been reported?
Yeah. So again, just to put it in perspective,
it hasn't been reported.
About 08:45 on 6 July when a park ranger on Horn Island discovered the body, called it in to law enforcement. We had myself and the gentleman who donated his plane that day out of Gulfport. We had been flying for about 2 hours at that point. We were making a track going from Horn Island over to Ship Island down to Chandelier Island, south of both of those islands, about another 30 miles. So
thank you, Angel.
We were coming back up north towards the northwest tip of Horn Island when we noticed there were boats in the center of the island where there's a lagoon, and then we saw some boats approaching the northwest tip. And then when we got closer, we noticed there were 2 boats already parked in tandem on the beach. That was strange. It was a Monday morning. It was obvious they weren't fishing. So we descended and to about maybe 450 feet, 500 feet. And we could tell it was law enforcement boats, law enforcement personnel. So we descended maybe another 100 feet or so, circled around. And that's when I saw a law enforcement presence gathering on that northwest point. And then I noticed that there was what appeared to be a body right at the shoreline, laying face down on the sand.
The implication is that this body had washed up, unfortunately, on the shore.
That's what it looked like to me, yeah.
Did you see any visible injuries or anything that you can speak to at that distance?
No, from that height, right? So it's the best I can do. The description matched Nolan Wells. It matched the area. It was the area where we were looking. So I had good reason to believe, even before I heard from the sheriff's office, that it was him. The swim trunks appeared to be similar color to what was reported. The one thing I'll say about the condition of the body, and again, I want to stress very, as much as I can, that I'm at 450 feet in the air. So
I want to address this. I feel the same way. Do you see how you can feel when somebody is being honest? See how he's just flowing with what he knows. It seems very genuine. And unfortunately, I haven't gotten this feeling from anybody else that's been speaking on this case. This type of genuine energy, this authenticity, this just really just telling his count, recounting the situation at hand or how he viewed it when he saw his body is just coming out, it's flowing. Everything, it doesn't seem performative. Everybody else, them friends, these other people, it ain't giving this truthful energy like this man is giving. And shout out to him for being willing to come out and speak on what he knows to try to help this investigation.
I did not have a good ground's eye view look, but normally when a body's been floating, you'll see some bloating and whatnot. He wasn't in the water that long. The water temperature was high. He has a low body mass index, so both of those factors together. Normally we'll look for a body to pop up on about day 4, but we knew it was possible he could pop up as soon as day 2, and this was day 2. But again, the body, I'm trying to think of the most respectful way to say it. The body did not seem at that height to be disproportionate to the way it should look. Now, I could not get a good look at his face. I could not get a good look of the front side of his body, which was on the beach. I was really looking at his back of his legs, back of his arms, that kind of thing. And so that was my vantage point. And I just want to stress to everybody that that's not an ideal vantage point. It's just what I can see. And plus, I'm flying at 90 knots, so I'm going pretty fast.
So what he's saying is, with the eye that he has to know if a body that is found washed up on the water, they are trained to know if this body drowned, if this body washed up, whatever. He's saying out of his mouth that body wasn't bloated. It didn't show any signs that he had been drowned and then just washed up on the shore. It's given he was placed there. It's given something happened on a boat on land somewhere, and they went back and dropped him, because there's another report that came out that said his body was found very close to where he was last seen. That's odd. So in the area that he was last seen talking to his homies, talking to Katie, right? And we'll get to her because she has come out with some more information as well. He ends up right back in that vicinity after they went out to try to find him that night and didn't find anything. And then the next day, he suddenly washed up on the beach, not looking bloated, not looking like he's been drowned. Just turns up on the beach in the same area of where he was last seen. That's not suspicious to anyone else? Okay.
So I'm really getting when I say a glimpse, it's a glimpse.
Was there anything about the location, how close to shore, how far from the shore when he was last seen, that struck you as unusual?
I don't want to say unusual, but I would say that the wind and drift patterns that I was studying what had me believing that he was going to be taken through that ship channel between Horn Island and Ship Island and carried south. It's important to also point out that just like maybe 6 or 7 weeks prior to this, there was a shrimp boat worker who had gone off MOB man overboard off of a shrimp boat in Pascagoula, which is on the coast, like close to Horn Island, and it took about a week before we found him, but he had washed up all the way down at the Chandelier Island. So that could have also influenced my pattern of thought, just because in a similar, I mean, he didn't go overboard on the island, but he was in a similar area and he got carried through that channel. Based on where Nolan washed up, my assumption, again, I'm a search and rescue person, I'm not an investigator, but it seems like what happened was he was carried north, which indicates to me that he might have got caught in a rip current, and it carried him north. And then as the tide slacked and the current changed back to a southward heading, it carried him right back to the beach. The only thing that really stood out to me that I was not expecting is that he washed up very, very close to the last spot where he was seen alive. I wasn't expecting that.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything you saw or heard during the search that you feel hasn't gotten enough public attention?
I think that the biggest thing that stands out for me, and I think this sort of is why I understand the way that his parents have gone about the search and the whole case, is that there's just seems to be no information past about 4:30 that afternoon on July 4th until he was found. Now, I'm told that police have interviewed up to 60 witnesses. There's a lot of people who have turned in images and videos to us, and there's people I know that have turned images and videos over to law enforcement. So there's a lot about this. There's a lot of evidence in this case I have not personally seen, and a lot of accounts I have not heard. But based on everything that people did offer to us, it's just it's just hard to understand why, his friends leave, sometime around 4:30. That seems to be about the last time somebody said they visually saw him on the island with a different friend group, and then just nobody ever saw him again after that. And so that's why
And again, none of the friends have been questioned or interrogated or, taken into police custody. Nothing. Even the Coast Guard is like, yeah, it's some bullshit going on.
I fully understand. The parents are like, I mean, it's like a vanishing, and that doesn't make any sense. So like, of course they want to accept every bit of help they can get and just have it looked into as thoroughly as possible, because they buried their son today and they need to know why.
Mr. Trasher.
Exactly. And they still don't know. So that is what the Coast Guard said, right? That is what he said. He said basically it was very strange that his body showed up very close to the last place that he was last seen alive. He was saying that his body did not look disfigured in any way, as far as from his vantage point. It didn't look bloated. He couldn't really see his face or anything else because his body was turned down. So it's giving, according to his account of the way the body looked, he did not drown. He did not die from drowning. So if this autopsy report shows up and says otherwise, we already know what time it is. You already know what time it is. They've been playing in our face since the beginning of this shit, y'all. It's creepy. It's very nefarious. It's very strange. And it's almost like, yeah, this is the narrative we're running with, regardless of what it looks like, regardless if there's blatant discrepancies in what the narrative we're saying that had to happen. We're just going to make you believe this, and there's nothing you can do about it. There's nothing you can say. There's no pushback, anything. But let's get into this next video. Make sure y'all like the video. You guys, if you're enjoying the video, please show some love. Throw a little color in the chat or what have you. But ultimately, likes and shares is what's going to keep me in the algorithm. So I appreciate y'all being here. Let me give you a round of applause for kicking it with me today. We just got a few more things to go over, y'all. Thank y'all for pulling up. Thank y'all for pulling up on your girl today. But let me get into this video where Katie kind of gives a little bit more information on Nolan and his whereabouts after she saw him. So I'm going to play this from Crime Cases, and they are, let me go ahead and subscribe to them. Now, I believe this is an AI narrated type of channel, But they're really giving some good information, and they have the timelines in really good chronological order. But they got a clip of the soundbite of Katie speaking on the things that she saw right before Nolan allegedly went missing. So let me go to the timestamp. Hold on one second. Like the video, babies. Like the video, please. Pretty sure it was like around here. Okay, I'll play it here. Let's go.
And it was kind of
This is Tracy and Shepard, and then it'll go into Katie's account as well.
it's kind of one of those things. It did come off that day that he really did like her, but that was the only time they've ever hung out was at Horn Island on July 4th.
On the map.
So that was another thing that stuck out to me about his account of what happened, because there's another video, and I'm not sure if that's actually Katie, with Nolan, like going on dances, and they're wearing formal outfits, look like they're going to like dinner dance or homecoming or something like that. But according to Trayson, this was the first time they was kicking it. So that's what's also confusing me about this Katie girl, because one person is saying they had basically just met and linked up that day, but there are other sources that are coming out with photos of Nolan alleged when they're describing Katie with Nolan, they're using these photos like they've been knowing each other their whole life, basically. Some in the milk ain't clean.
Matter of the pool party photograph that circulated widely, Shepard identified it as an image taken on June 27, 2026, in Pass Christian, Mississippi, not on the morning of July 5th, as previously suggested. Regarding Nolan's cell phone, Shepard described leaving phones on the boat as standard group practice. The friends planned to spend much of the day in the water, so multiple phone results unreleased, grand jury not yet seated, and already the mother is being told that her demand for a second autopsy, her demand for the phone download, her demand for the DA to treat the case as something other than a simple drowning, constitutes obstruction and grift. The question the hate mail asks is ugly but clarifying. Do these parents actually want justice for their son, or do they want a spectacle? The evidence we now have forces the opposite question. If the friend's story were solid, why does every new piece of physical data require more and more elaborate explanation to keep it alive? And why is the energy of certain voices spent attacking the mother instead of demanding the phone dump, the toxicology, and the full GPS raw files? There is a particular cruelty in the timing. The hate mail arrives while the family is still planning a funeral, while the independent autopsy funded by Colin Kaepernick is still underway, and while the state autopsy results remain sealed. In other words, it arrives at the exact moment when the family has the least emotional bandwidth and the greatest need for institutional clarity. The $ annotation is doing specific ideological work. It converts the retention of Ben Crump, the most successful civil rights litigator.
You guys, my bad. I had the wrong area time-stamped. Hold on. Let me go back to this so we can hear what Katie had to say.
Christine Wansley's refusal to accept that role is being punished in real time. That punishment is itself evidence of how the case is being socially managed. Let us stay with the friends for a moment, because the new materials make their conduct the central forensic problem.
We got out to the island around like 10:30. Everybody was hanging out, having a good time. And then it came time to leave, and so Wyatt was like, Nolan.
This is another friend. My bad, y'all. This isn't Katie. This is another. Oh, hold on. My bad, y'all. I don't know what just happened. Okay. Let me play it again. So this is a video, an audio clip of another girl that was actually with them. So let me go back just a little bit. Okay.
It converts the retention of Ben Crump, the most successful online chorus that calls this
8:50. Okay.
And then it came time to leave, and so Wyatt was like, Nolan, get on the boat. Like, come on, we're leaving. And Nolan was talking to that girl, Katie McCormick, and he was like, oh, I'm just going to go back. I'm going to go home. TikTok only lets you send 1 minute video.
Well, I know.
But he was like, oh, I'm just gonna go back with Katie. We'll be right behind y'all. We were all going to the same house, the same place. He was like, I'll be right behind y'all. Y'all go ahead without me. I'll see y'all at, like, I'm literally gonna be right behind y'all, whatever. So, Wyatt and all them left because they were like, okay, he's just gonna go with Katie, whatever. Well, then everybody got back in and we were all at Ava's house and Wyatt was like, where's Nolan? He was like, isn't he coming with Katie and them? And they were like, yeah. And Warren was like, let me call him, ask where he is. Or Warren was like, I have his phone. Like, somebody called Katie and asked where he is. And then they called Katie.
They don't even notice.
And that's when they found out that that Nolan never went with her either. She said that Nolan never went with her. And so no one knows what happened. Like, literally no one knows what happened to him, and it's so fucking heartbreaking.
Under maritime law, the operator of a
So this girl, see, maybe I got a little clickbaited because it definitely said that was Katie, but that was another girl that was on the boat. And I'm trying to find a video because I've been hearing all this breaking news that Katie actually came out and said something. But the only thing Katie has ever said thus far is that, no, I spoke to Nolan for 5 minutes and he said he was going back with them. But then you got this girl saying things like, no one knows. Oh, sorry. No one knows what actually happened to Nolan. We just all know that he was last seen with this girl named Katie. So at this point, where is Katie's testimony? Where is Katie's testimony? You know what I mean? Again, another girl, another person that's speaking that doesn't really have any real information other than what everybody else has been saying and speculating. And we all know that that information isn't congruent with what actually happened. Because if that was the case, then Katie would know. So at this point, we need answers from Katie. We need everybody that knows Katie in that boat. We need to ask Katie, who was driving her boat, what time did she see Nolan? After she said, oh, Nolan was going back, where did you see him walk to? Because y'all was all in the water. Did you see him actually leave you and go back on that boat? Or what happened at this point? It's all very weird. So I'm going to play this updated video, right? This update video gives kind of like a speculation of where Nolan could possibly have been right before he went missing, allegedly. And again, that also raises a lot of questions for me because in this video, you don't really see anything, right? You don't really see anything. I'm going to play the video. Shout out to Don Lemon. And let's get into the video that they say could be Nolan Wells on the boat.
Fishing almost every weekend, especially in the spring and summer in the warm months. Sometimes I didn't go when it was chilly. And, you know, I was a kid and sometimes I would always want to go, but I was too young and I'd always get the hook, not naked, sadly, and the other person cannot swim. And they're not, like all the, when I'm captain. Stop it as soon as you get to it, Andy, wherever it's.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, right here. That's a great spot. So this is why.
Okay, so a couple things here, right? This is supposed to be Nolan right here, right? This is supposed to be Nolan on a boat. It looks like he's on this boat by himself. I'm going to try to find another angle of this because there's a grown-ass, bad-built-ass man that's also sitting on the boat right over here, right? So at this point, now we got to dig a little deeper. Whose boat was that on if that was Nolan? Because at this point, we need to figure out what that label is on the back of that boat. Take a screenshot of this boat. Find out where this boat was sold. Find out who's the owner of that boat. Find out who was all on that boat. And confirm if that really was Nolan on that boat looking to be rummaging through like a cooler or what have you.
Everyone is saying, wait a minute. In this era of cell phones and technology, and you mean nobody saw anything? There was nothing? Now, I just want to say again, We're not saying that it is him. We don't know if it's him or not, but the family has been asking for information and to send any information to law enforcement. So has Ben Crump. And he was asked about it at a press conference not long ago when they met with the DA, and he said, he said you posted. There was a question from a reporter who said you posted on your website this information, and it turned out not to be, what they thought it was. And he said, just because we posted it doesn't mean that it's cooperation. We're trying to get clues and information from everyone. And so if you look at the bathing suit here, as this young man is looking in the back of, I guess he's getting a drink or he's been over to do something. And again, police can do the forensics. They can pull it up and see exactly what boat this was and get the metadata, they get all of that information. They can find out who all these people are around him or around this person to see exactly who was on this boat and ask other people if they have any video of what they've seen. So this could be an enormous help to the investigators who are looking to find out exactly what happened. And when they say it was in neck deep water, and if you can just take the breaking down real quick, the breaking news banner down, you can see, because there are people who appear to be standing there. Do you see that?
There are people standing
I don't believe
around.
they are wading in the water like that. They look more like they're standing. So it is neck deep water. Yeah, there you go. So the folks who are just hanging out in the water, and there are lots of people around. Lots of folks around.
Lots of folks around.
Let me tell you guys something. So as a boater, and I love the water. I grew up on the water. I grew up in Louisiana. That's all we did. I'll let you in on a little secret. My parents would go fishing almost every weekend, especially in the spring and summer in the warm months. Sometimes I'd even go when it was chilly. And, I was a kid and sometimes I didn't.
Okay, y'all, I'm going to share a different video with a different angle.
Nolan, he's bending down. You can see him right now. He's wearing the same exact swim trunks that's in the photos. And like, you see adults on the boat.
Again, this is very vague. This is not any, that's why I'm like, all this weird, mysterious new updates every day that really isn't telling us anything. I'm starting to get fucking annoyed. I'm starting to get frustrated because let's look at this video. This is back on TMZ, y'all. I just wanted to get a wider shot. And thank y'all for being patient. So this is where he is.
Which is when this all went down. That may contain the final image of Nolan Wells before he.
Matter of fact, we don't even need their commentary. So let's go back again. It's panning around. Boom. Let's pause it. Now, you see this fat fucker right here? Who the fuck is that? Right? Because we haven't even heard from any adults that were in the vicinity. And we know there were adults on the boat that Nolan came in with. And that's clearly an adult that's sitting on this boat right now. And if you look even closer, there looks like another bad built white woman on that same boat. Nolan looks like the only dude on that boat at that time. Everybody else is in the water, but all of these people are around him. So we need to find out who owned that boat. We need to ask them, when the last time you see this boy, or confirm or deny if that is actually Nolan Wells on the boat. I don't care about the update if we're not actually asking those questions, because this video is not new. Didn't we see this video? I feel like it's like deja vu. There's more things coming out, but it's like we've seen that already. There's another update. Nancy Grace, right? Shout out to her. She came out and said, oh, he got his phone back and all the messages were deleted. We knew that 2 weeks ago. So it's like we're regurgitating the same evidence that's popping up, and we're hearing from nobody but these kids that were not actually on the boat, that weren't last to see him, and we haven't heard from any adults outside of that judge, outside of that white judge that is the stepmother to one of those boys that was last seen with Nolan. That's highly suspect to me. Everybody is a suspect at this point. Let's get into it.
Appeared on Horn Island.
Yes.
And Horn Island is, and correct me if I'm wrong.
And I see a lot of adults out there. It ain't just kids. This wasn't no hoorah with a bunch of teenagers. It's adults out there. There was adult supervision. Nobody saw anything, and he went missing 4:30 in the afternoon. No adult, nothing. And he said, I'm gonna just leave all my stuff on this boat and go on this boat with Katie. But Katie was like, no, that wasn't me. And that's the story we just have to deal with. It's getting
They contain
frustrating.
the final image of Nolan Wells before he disappeared on Horn Island.
Yes.
And Horn Island is, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is like an island where it's like you park your boat, but it's not like buildings and it's populated or anything, right?
No,
it's just kind of a desolate island. And teens go there to party and
Mhm.
everything.
But there were adults seen on this boat. Where
We're there.
Yes.
Okay.
Where like it's allegedly Nolan. He's bending down. You can see him right now. He's wearing the same exact swim trunks that's in the photos, and like you see adults on the boat.
So
and it looks like
point-
he's getting a drink.
Point out to me where he. Okay, so this is like a long.
So it's
time
gonna be
before-
right here when he's panning over, and he's in the. Well, where'd it go? He's in the blue shorts.
Yeah, we're just gonna play it again. Let's see.
Right there.
Okay, there it is. Okay,
Yeah.
There we go. Okay.
And it looks like you never see his face in the video, but the shorts.
And that's convenient. You never see his face in a video. That's what I'm saying. All this shit it's conspiracies at this point. People are pulling at straws. That's why I'm like, what is the investigation actually doing? TMZ and all these random reporters are coming out with all this evidence. But as far as the investigation goes, are they assessing these videos? Are they? Are they actually using this video to find more information? Are they trying to get in contact with that boat owner? Because that would be my first. Okay, if that's Nolan, we need to figure this out right now. Let's figure out who owns that boat and see who was on it. Who was the black boy in the blue shorts with you and your white bad built wife? Because that's what was on that boat.
Do match.
Look. Here's who they say is allegedly Nolan, right? Who are these grown ass people right here?
What?
And whose boat was that?
The photo shows, and there were adults on the boat, and it looks like he's getting a drink. What the drink was, I'm unaware.
So this kind of, in a way, and if anyone thinks this is pointless,
This was taken around 2:30, by the way.
Okay, so this kind of paints a picture about like what the scene looked like all day.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. I really appreciate y'all. I hope you guys are enjoying the show today. Just a quick little recap I wanted to do with you guys. Like I said, this shit has been ongoing for 15 going on 20 days now. We have no real answers, all speculation, but we just had a funeral with an alleged body in that casket. And this person right here, who I'm Infinite Mind said, you've been saying some stuff in the chat today that I hate that I agree with you with. I saw you say up the chat a little bit saying that there was no real body in that casket. I don't know, because the casket was closed. Mamie Till had that casket open. She wanted the world to see what they did to her baby when that happened to Emmett Till. But they decided to keep this casket closed. I wonder why. Because there was a reason why Mamie wanted her casket to be open on her baby, so people can see what was actually done and how we need convictions across, even though it didn't help, right? Because those people, were all let off, acquitted of any charges. This is America. But again, like Infinite Mindset said, no white suspects. Nobody white is even talking. We only see black folks talking about Nolan. Black folks so much that the mama saying one of them boys she don't even know. And he claiming to be his bestie. Where are the besties that was on that fucking boat? That was saying, we didn't do anything wrong. We don't know. Oh, we got the keys. That was my boy. Nobody is talking to them. So it's and after that press conference, after that funeral, that vagueness that Ben Crump is saying, oh, we asked the DA to get the phones, but it was just a request. Oh, we did get the body. We're still waiting on an autopsy, but it's only so much that we can do. We don't have a real timeline. It's like they setting us up. It feels like they're setting us up to let us down. And they putting all this fluff in the media and in front of us to soften the blow. Next thing you know, paycheck gonna be cut. You know what I'm saying? And I said it before. I want the check cut, but I also want real justice. And I'm only seeing money being thrown at it, right? $50,000. Now it's $100,000 for somebody to come forth with the truth. But the truth is right there in the motherfucking pudding that y'all not putting no spoon in. Everybody on that damn boat is a suspect. But we still have no answers. That doesn't make any sense. And I really feel like they're playing in our faces. And I really feel like there is more than what is being said. I'm going to say it over and over again. I need some real, irrefutable evidence. I need those phones confiscated. And I need to see what the fuck was in them phones. And I need them boys interrogated and asked why that they felt the need to go into hiding after their so-called best friend ended up missing and then turned up dead. What part is Ben Crump playing if he is not the one? Because he is a lawyer, right? So couldn't he get some type of affidavit or indictment or something? He said you could get an indictment on a ham sandwich. That's what he said. So why we ain't got an indictment on these boys to hand over their fucking phones to further this investigation? Who is he waiting on? You got the DA involved finally, FBI involved, but shit, as far as as far as I'm concerned, they're all in cahoots. FBI down there trying to, remove anybody of any guilt that actually played a part in it. That judge, that sheriff, the police, the cover up. They're helping with the cover up, if you ask me. They're not assisting in trying to find real justice. Because if that were the case, all them boys would have been in custody by now. They would have been told, you cannot leave. You are a suspect until you are cleared. You sit down and you make sure you're available every time we need to talk to you. Because if the roles were reversed, that's why I'm like, hone in on this race shit, on this racist shit. Hone in on it. Lean into it. Because it's very clear that because this was a black body dead in Mississippi, they're like, what else is new? This is what we do down here. And did y'all hear about that one man who went on a weird ass racist rant talking about, yeah, them boys actually did that. That's what we do. That's what we do. We get y'all in bodies of water. And I said this before. They find humor in our suffering. So they know that a lot of black folks, especially black boys, have a stigma when it comes to water. I don't know if they knew that about Nolan, but we've seen time and time again where they like to take niggas out on these bodies of water and put them in precarious situations just to make fun of them. That video replayed of that boy kayaking and his friends was across the water and they making monkey noises trying to get him to come over and he's screaming at them, I can't swim. They knew that boy couldn't swim. They think that shit is funny. This is what they do. That's why I'm like, I'm not saying, what I'm saying is that the superiority complex when it comes from white people to black people, regardless if we're in the same tax bracket, it's there. It's ingrained. It's literally how you all came into power. You had to suppress black people. There is an inferiority complex, even if you're not fully aware of it. If you're a white person that say, I have a black friend, baby, yeah, you're a little racist. Unfortunately, you got to unlearn that because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you got a couple of black homeboys. That doesn't mean that you don't have racial bias. That doesn't mean that that you can be completely oblivious to the injustice that we constantly face. And what we're looking at right now is a constant injustice as it pertains to a black body dying mysteriously around white people. Just like, what was her name? Tamala? Who wound up dead amongst all her little white homegirls on her little girls' night. And they tried to paint her as the Miss Marley, trying to say, oh, she was smoking weed. She got drunk. She fell off the balcony. But yet her body was bruised and beat the fuck up, though. And they're like, no, regardless of that, we're telling you, no foul play. She fell. Deal with it. It's a big mind game going on. It feels like a big ass mind game going on right now. And it's making me feel weird. That's why I'm like, I don't want to hear shit else about it until we really see what the hell is going on. I want to see I want to see both autopsy reports. And what concerns me about what Ben Crumb said about the autopsy report is the fact that he's saying we got the body 6 days later after they worked on it. Anything could have, you know what I mean? Like they could have tampered with that body. Which is why he said there's only so much we can do. They could probably set up the body to be a certain way. By the time they get to it, it's like, well, shit, ain't nothing else we can do. See, I didn't even realize that they did an autopsy. I thought they was like, no, we're going to do our own private autopsy. I didn't know that they were going to still allow the state to do one. And then, because in the state of Mississippi, they don't do autopsies on so-called drowning bodies, which is very convenient for the state of Mississippi, which is why so many niggas turn up dead in bodies of water in the state of Mississippi. You know what I'm saying? Like, history just repeating itself because they never stop. They put certain laws in place to protect their clan-like ways, to protect their lynching, activities. They kill us for sport. It's a game to them. They like that shit. A lot of these people are very evil, and they only feel good when they are being evil to other people that they feel intimidated against. And it's just ridiculous because, baby, why y'all so mad? Why y'all so mad at niggas? What did we ever do? What did we ever do? Truly. Why do we have to continue to keep enduring such injustice over and over again and earn so much hate when we try to get the answers that we need to bring us justice? They're getting sent hate. They're getting sent hate mail. You're hating the fact that a family lost a child mysteriously amongst his friends with adults in the vicinity. Nobody has any answers. And you mad because we're trying to look further into the investigation? Tell on yourself without telling on yourself. You know what I mean? The fact that that police sheriff came out and before the autopsy, and we're still waiting on the autopsy, but before it's even out, saying ain't no foul play or no foul play. I don't know what to say, y'all. I don't know. I don't know how to put this. I don't know how to feel about this because nothing feels true. Nothing feels honest. And like I said, the regurgitation of information that we already know is frustrating. Give us the autopsy report. Give us the damn statements. In the last stream, we found out that they were supposed to turn over statements within 72 hours, and they still haven't done that. What are the investigators actually doing? Because now we put up $100,000, which ain't gonna do shit. Like B. Taylor said earlier, and if nobody comes up, what happens to that 100,000? And what more information that a random person can do? And why are so many people afraid? If you feel like you got to put up money for the truth, then you need to call a spade a spade, and say there's some foul play, something happened to him, something is nefarious afoot, and we want answers. But instead, y'all like, we're not putting anything on anybody. We're not gonna blame anybody. We don't want to run with any narratives. Why the fuck not? It is what it is. At the end of the day, them white boys had something. I would be in the. If you put a camera in my face and this happened to my boy, to my son, to my nephew, oh my God, what? I'm crashing out. There will be no suppressing of my voice. Them white boys, I will be saying it. I will get shirts made. Them white boys did it. They did it. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. And I'll retract everything. But they're not bold enough to do that because it's this weird play in the media where you got to tiptoe around the honest truth, which doesn't ever resort in actual justice or getting real answers.
Looks like you see an adult on the boat right there.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So there's no information as to what happened, why those quote unquote friends came back without
because they
him.
came back around 4:30 without him.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Are we teasing this video or are we just talking about it now? Just going straight in.
Are we just?
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
Oh no, I just meant like the whole Nolan.
Are we gonna play this, Tony? Okay, so this is the man, and Tony, grab the mic.
Okay, so they're about to speak to the Coast Guard. So shout out to them. I just wanted to use that video so y'all can see a full view of that pen that they did. And like I said, I feel like we've seen that video already. And now all of a sudden they're like, wait, that's Nolan. It's just like a bunch of games being played in our faces. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but let me know what y'all think in the comments real quick. I hope y'all enjoyed the show today. Let me give y'all a round of applause once again. Look at the super chat. I really appreciate y'all pulling up on me today. It was a good vibe, but you know, it is what it is, and we're still lost in the sauce. We're still lost in the sauce. Exactly. This Shanquilla Robinson all over again. Nothing going to come about with this. Her death wasn't publicized either because it wasn't Ben Crumb's cup of tea. Katie's dad didn't like Nolan smashing his daughter and did what racists do, create black funerals. Now there's no, see, and that's what I'm saying. We can't go off that because according to the friends, he had just met that girl, or, you know, that maybe they met before and they were just linking up in that moment. There's nothing confirmed. According to them, that was the first time they actually had an interaction. You know what I mean? Exactly. The time of Nolan's unaliving from the autopsy will determine who we need to question. And the fact that that body showed up on shore, not looking like it was drowned, had no bloating to the body, that already a suspect. It's very odd. It's very odd, you guys. I'm just looking at the comments. Exactly. Little white Marianne died. They searched the whole earth for the killer. What? And would already had somebody in custody. Whether they knew that that person in custody was guilty or not, if it was any nigga in proximity, he would already be in jail, fighting for his life, fighting for his innocence. Even if he ain't had nothing to do with it, you know they're gonna find somebody to blame. It's very crazy. Let's see. Facts, right? Facts. There is a woman in Colorado that for the Bureau of Investigation is going to jail right now for camping with DNA. Evidence before 1,000 cases of decades. These people will mess with evidence. That's right. Thank you, SJ. Yeah, that's another thing that's happening. There's a woman out here who was over like DNA evidence for a bunch of cases that has been caught tampering with that evidence. Over 1,000 cases tampered with. That should let you know it's already some bullshit in the game. That should let you know the foul players are them. The law enforcement, they are the one that are doing the foul play. The DA, the coroner's office, the investigators, the FBI, they're the ones playing the foul play. But on the other side, I don't feel a sense of urgency as it pertains to asking the right questions to the right people. The fact that they still haven't heard from the boys that was actually with them is bizarre as fuck to me, because it should be, well, Katie said she didn't come back with me. Katie said that they came back with you. So what's up with that? Asking everybody all the wrong shit. Got everybody else in front of cameras, not answering anything. Right? So, y'all, that is the show. I'm just trying to make sure I see. I'm kind of up here. Let's see. Nolan's white and black friends betrayed him versus a group of black friends being betrayed by another group of black people, i.e. Shanquilla. Yeah, I think so. I think so. He was betrayed by everybody, it seems like. Because his friends came out trying to say, oh, it's not racially charged. Oh, that wasn't really Nolan. But they're going against everything the parents are saying. But even if I was one of the black friends, I would be on camera on TMZ like, we need to holler at all them white boys that was on the bus. I mean, on the plane, on the boat with him. I wasn't there like that. You know what I mean? We need to be questioning them. But nobody is saying that. And I find that to be very bizarre. Jazz, did you see the video of the white kids on the island a month ago playing Where's Nolan? Huh? What you mean? What you mean? What you mean? Oh, honey, listen. I appreciate you, DeCarlo. Listen, this was just a one-off. I didn't go live yesterday, so I just wanted to make it up this afternoon today, and I have something to do this evening, so I wasn't able to do it past a certain time. So thank you for still finding time to pull up. I know this was an odd time. And, you know, Auntie's still trying to figure out the algorithms and, you know, get the people back in tune with the channel. But I appreciate everybody that pulls up when they can. I'm just trying to be as consistent as possible and bring y'all content as much as I can. So I may plug in here and there, but I will take a note to that I feel like a lot of my audience prefer a nightly show, and I'll try to maintain that as well. But thank you for taking the time out and listening in where you can, wherever you are. I truly do. Round of applause for you. Thank you. What you mean? Has a different spirit away from the norm, like myself in a way? I don't know. Maybe so. I've always felt like an oddball out. I always felt things on a deeper level. Certain things that are presented to me, it's like I'm always seeing the thing that you're not saying or seeing the thing that you're not presenting, because what you're presenting to me is not making sense. And that's how I've been feeling throughout this whole entire investigation. That's how I felt about Carmelo Anthony. And I'm exhausted. And the fact that we forgot about Cohen Riley, Cohen Riley, the 1-year-old that was killed in Mississippi by police officers in Mississippi. There's no follow-up on that. We ain't even heard about it. It's black bodies on top of black bodies on top of black bodies on top of black bodies. And it's exhausting. It's hard to keep up. All of these hangings that they want to rule as suicide. What is it that we can do to push back on these rulings? Why is it that it an official ruling when all of these weird ass hangings come about when there's no evidence that shows that that person actually hung themselves outside in a tree in daylight at a festival in front of a church in front of a school? Nobody ever sees anything. It's ridiculous. Okay, I got to look into this. We'll have to talk about that another time because that's wild as hell. If that's true, hang it up. Why do I feel like we're doing more investigating than the people that's actually on this case? You're right. Definitely don't, because the status quo is full of shit. The status quo is harmful. The status quo, it has racial bias, right? So y'all, that's it for today's show. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm gonna give you guys one last round of applause. More random more random updates I'm sure we'll be developing this week. If I can lock back in with y'all, we'll go live and we'll talk about it. But make sure you please like the video. Like the video. Like the video. Like the video, share the video, hype the video once it is all done. I know you get like about 3 hypes a week. Share one with Auntie. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got to do our thing. We got to be in this together. And I promise y'all, I'm going to come up with a name for us because we are a crew. And I'm going to come up with a decent ass intro song and a little intro vibe for y'all too. I'm working on it, okay? This shorty be on my ass. I know. I'll be overthinking stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, okay, maybe this be good. But I'm like, oh, maybe not. So that's a me thing. We'll get there. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate it. Big. Oh. Hold on 1 second. The knight and the bishop. You stay on topic. I appreciate that. I try. I appreciate that because with ADHD, sometimes you can ramble and go off. But I appreciate y'all. That's it for today's show, y'all. I will see y'all next time. Until then, you know what time it is. Dance on out of here. See you next time. Bye.